We gather in the cosmos bright. Stars and ships take flight tonight. In the void where dreams do play. Soul citizens lead the way. Borders fade in nebula's light. Unknown worlds will chart tonight. Through the galaxy we soar. Endless journeys at our core. Borders fade in nebula's light. Unknown worlds will chart tonight. Through the galaxy we soar. Endless journeys at our core. Starry roads in endless skies. Soul citizens we rise. Charting courses never lost. Together the verses crossed. Squadrons call on the horizon. Battles fought, our hearts aren't frightened. In our ships we face the dawn. Soul citizens carry on. Oh, planets spin and light years fly. Boundless space where hopes reside. Brotherhood in every star. Soul citizens, here we are. Borders fade in nebula's light. Unknown worlds will chart tonight. Through the galaxy we soar. Endless journeys at our core. Starry roads in endless skies. Soul citizens we rise. Charting courses never lost. Together the verses crossed.
Hey, greetings, greetings, greetings. Welcome back to the Soul Citizens. I am GriffinGamingRPG, and today is Sunday, February the 8th, and we are excited to be back after missing you guys on last week. And but we're excited to be here today. A couple of special things going on, so maybe some surprises even. First off, I want to welcome two people, two faces. One face you may be familiar with and one that you may not be. First, I want to introduce ccCreator. Some of you all know CC has been a part of the Soul Citizens community for many years now, and he has graciously accepted our invitation to become a part of the Soul Citizens team. So y'all give a shout out to CC. Y'all seeing him on camera for once. This is his first day, so y'all take it easy on him. But welcome, my friend. How you doing?
Doing good. Thanks, Griff, and the rest of the Soul Citizens family for inviting me to be a part of the team. I'm really thankful and happy to be a part of coming on board.
We are happy to be here. Let me ask you a quick question. When did you, well, how long have you been a part of Star Citizen? I know you've been with us for a little while, but how long have you been a part of Star Citizen?
I actually joined Star Citizen back in November of 2020. I believe I joined during IAE that year.
Ah, okay. How'd you find out about it? Curious.
I don't quite remember. It must have been a free fly event, and just was always into space games
Okay.
and sci-fi, and that I was actually, I do know I was big into Elite Dangerous at the time, and their failed promises led me to Star Citizen.
Oh, this sounds like some mess. Oh Lord. Okay. All right. We'll have to dig into that a little bit later. Chachi even like that one. Okay. Serious fun. Thank you so much for kicking us off. Oh my God, 10 subs right off of the thing. Thank you for that. We really, really appreciate it. Oh, is that 5 subs? 5 subs, 10 subs? I don't know how many you gave, but you gave plenty. Thank you. We appreciate that. 5 subs looks like. Okay, thanks. Y'all showed Serious Fun Game some love out there. We appreciate you, bro. And so thank you again for being here, CC. Also, Another person, many of us in the Star Citizen community have known for many, many years. A very familiar name and face in our community, and it has been just a great opportunity that we reached out to him, and he was gracious and excited to say, yes, I'd be happy to come on board. The one and the only Mr. VR Citizen himself, Chachi Sanchez. Chachi, thank you, and welcome to Soul Citizens. How you
Happy
doing?
to be here.
Good,
We
good,
are
good.
great, man.
Good.
Finally moved into the new room. We got the new internet, new headsets. Everything is just finally getting on rolling.
It's like everything's kind of coming together now, right? Everything is coming together.
Native VR for Star Citizen.
Yeah.
We're not using third-party programs.
Yeah. It's going to be exciting.
At the same time, some things don't change. I'm having issues with EAC and Pimax now.
But other than that, well, we are going to talk a little bit about a lot of stuff today. And one of the reasons why we have Chachi coming on, matter of fact, let me say this from the very beginning. Even though we're going to be doing our Star Citizen this week in just a moment, I want you guys to know that the show today is really going to be a show where we want to be talking about virtual reality and its evolution, not just about Star Citizen, but one of the reasons why we have Chachi on is because even though all three of us have been in virtual reality for quite a while, when I say quite a while, I mean quite a while, we wanted to have a more authoritative voice sharing some information about it as well. And so we asked him to come on board for that as well. So let's first of all dig into what's been going on over the past week. Now, as you guys know, we weren't here last week, and so we didn't get a chance to do our weekly follow-up of what was going on. And there was a lot of stuff that happened the week before. But because time is a factor, we want to kind of touch a little bit on what happened 2 weeks ago, but then also talk about some stuff that happened this week as well, because a lot of stuff happened this week as well. So kind of bear with us as we kind of puddle through some of this stuff. The one thing I want to talk about is 2 weeks ago in the last report that we got, the monthly report, or not the monthly report, the weekly thing. Yeah, the monthly thing. Roadmap roundup. There was some additions. It wasn't just stuff that was coming out in 4.6, but they also gave us a glimpse as to what was coming up in 4.7. And so even though we could talk about all these items forever, I'm just going to ask my guests and also cc, our team member, if there was anything on this list that's really standing out to them, what would be that one thing out of the things that were here? I know all of it's kind of exciting on different levels, but Chachi, since you're the guest, I'm going to hit you first. What's if there's something here for you?
Those QV breaker stations. That's the asteroid cracker missions that they teased at CitizenCon. Yeah.
See, that's what I don't know, because I got the impression I got the impression that cracker thing was a particular location. I'm not saying that it's not multiple locations. It might be. I just don't know. And I asked somebody the same question. Is that what it is? Is that what the QV? I don't know.
They put 2 Hathors on 2 planets each.
Yeah.
They did like 3 different sites for the Stormbreaker. There's no way there's just going to be a single one. Unless
so be multiples.
it's instanced.
That's what I thought it was going to be, was instance, but I could be wrong. Could be completely wrong. Completely wrong.
I don't know. I don't know what their plans are for the instances. I'm just excited for stuff like that.
Come on, chat, help us out. Chat, help us out. Is Chachi right? Is that what it is? Because I never thought about it from his perspective. He might be on point.
Because they could do it lore-wise that it's one giant station that failed, and that's why they're not ubiquitous all through Nix or whatever.
Yeah.
And if that's one station that everybody's going to, they can avoid the bottlenecks that are usually happening with those types of places by employing the instances that instancing that we talked about. So.
Yeah. But so the rock cracker thing, but the rock cracker thing is the thing that excites you, that's coming up? Is that the thing that you're looking forward to?
If that QV breaker stations, it says plural stations.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Don't know.
That's fair. No, that's fair.
But
that's fair.
That would be cool if it is.
Okay. cc, how about you? What off that list catches your eye?
Yeah, I am in the same boat. The rock cracker QV stations, that's intriguing to me. I'm heavily into mining, so that is really interesting to me.
Okay.
Have you done mining in VR, I'm assuming? Have you checked that out?
I have. I spent a good bit of time.
Prospector's nice. Industrial gameplay in VR is just so nice. It's like checking into a second job, but you actually enjoy it.
That's good to know, because I enjoy mining. So yes, absolutely. I've not done the mining yet, though. I've done everything, but I have not done mining yet in VR. So now you're going to make me go do something. Yeah.
The Vulture, the Prospector, just any industry ships you can get your hand on, you'll have a blast.
All right. Okay. Now you got me something to do later tonight now. Okay. That's fair. Let's see. For me, What am I excited about? I'm going to say the hairstyle. No, I'm just kidding. I'm curious about the
credits due. Those hairstyles are good.
Yeah, they are. They actually have been coming out with some good stuff. You're right. I actually am a little curious about the People's Service Station, and let me say why real quick. One of the things that I'm hoping the CIG will do, and guys, I'm not saying they're going to do this. I'm just saying this would be something I would love for them to see them do, is that even though we have these different service locations throughout the game, in Nyx, in Pyro, in Stanton, I'm hoping that eventually they start to tweak those so that those stations either become more balanced based upon whatever the lore of the system is. So, like, for example, Pyro. Pyro is 9 AU roughly. Stanton is 3.5 AU. I would love to see like some of those stations that we have out there, those fueling stations. Maybe some of them operate, not operate. Maybe they don't have fuel, do have fuel, but reasons for us to be able to use fueling vehicles and stuff later in the game. And so I don't know what the People's. Well, I'm assuming since it says People's, that means it's tied to the folks over at Nyx. But what's the uniqueness of that? I'm curious about it, and I'm only picking that because these guys picked the other good one, so I had to pick a secondary one. Okay, but that's what I'm thinking. What those stations will be like.
That is interesting that it's called Service Station. Now, remember we tried that though way back when we just had floating Olisar, no moons.
Yes.
What was that called?
The Kovalex, the Kovalex fueling place over there. Not Kovalex. It was no, not Kovalex. The what was the place called, y'all? We used to fly to and land on the pads. Yeah. What's the fueling thing, y'all? Y'all help us out. We forgot already. We're getting old.
It was the only place you could get fuel, and everybody would camp there.
Cryastro. Yeah, Cryastro. Yep. Yeah, Cryastro. Yeah.
It was the only place you could get fuel. You couldn't get refuel on pads, and everybody would camp there for PvP, and they realized how bad of an idea that was.
But it was testing, right? That's what it was back in the day.
Yeah.
It was all about the testing.
That's why we don't have it now.
Absolutely. Okay, cool. All right, let's move on then. The next thing that we want to talk about with you folks is, and this is, again, we're pulling some of this information from a couple weeks ago, so bear with us. But there is some good information I want to share about this real quick, and that is with the upcoming calendar that came out for Bar Citizen World Tour 2026. This was last year. CIG kind of went full steam with this, right? Where they would have opportunities where they were Bar Citizens, and they would send representatives from CIG to also attend many of these events. And so there's a calendar that is already on the website right now that you can go to, and you can see if there's going to be a Bar Citizen in your area. Sometimes CIG is there, sometimes it's not. You have to check with the organizers or go onto the Bar Citizen website to see whether or not CIG will be there. But it is it's very cool. We held an event last year, as you guys already know. We were the sponsors for Quantum Vegas, and we were fortunate to be one of the groups that CIG came out, and we had quite a few people that came out for that. Usually there's like 2 to 3 folks that will come from the company that hang out at these events. And so check out the website, take a look there if you're interested in seeing if there's going to be a Bar Citizen in your area that's listed for the World Tour. Also, Chachi, you've participated in these before in the past. You've attended the ones down in Texas, and you said you're thinking about attending this one, right? Coming up. When is it coming up, and what's the deal?
So, 2 weeks before the one in June last year, I called up the guy who was hosting it, and I was like, hey, I got plans to build and make a mobile VR cockpit that I could take to Bar Citizens and Citizen Cons, because I wanted to eventually have a booth for that. And so he was like, I'd be glad to have you. We'll find space for you. I built the cockpit. I took it down there. Everybody loved it. And that's basically the thing that I do now.
Okay.
And
we've got some footage, right, of you here. And we'll see.
This was actually from the event in October at the Bar Citizen for Citizen Con. That they officially hosted. And this is Granny Q from Twitch. You guys might know her if you guys watch late night streams. So anyways, she was there, and she hopped into my cockpit, and in full VR, she was able to enjoy Star Citizen. Now, this was all done before there was native support. I'm the guy who makes all the tutorials, who gets third-party programs to work with Star Citizen in VR, right up until I didn't need to anymore. So the new cockpit experience is going to be even better. And it won't have the Quest 3. It will have the Pimax. So you'll have 4K VR.
Was this her first time doing VR? Do you know when she did that?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe this is her, definitely for first time for VR Citizen.
Yeah.
She may have done like some cell phone VR, like her grandkids showed her or something. You know?
Right.
There's probably some sort of Beat Saber, but nothing at this level. But she took it to like a duck to water. She got 3 kills. She got 3 bandits.
That's cool.
Look at her.
Yeah, I see. That's pretty cool. She's out there handling it. Granny Q came out to Quantum last year, and she was so excited, and she got to meet people from CIG. Great, she was great. Yeah, she was. She was a sweetheart. She really was very, very nice. Very cool. That's awesome. Well, listen, if you guys are in Texas, and you're going to go, you've heard it today. They're giving the heads up. Chachi's going to be there, and if you have, and we always want to tell people when it comes to VR, if there's ever an opportunity for you to be able to try it out ahead of time, he's going to be able to provide a means for you guys to do that.
And that's the exact reason why I wanted this project to do so well. It's so hard for people to experience any type of VR, let alone really, really good VR. And I'm able to take that on the road now. So if there's anybody who want to see that and want to see more of it, just drop by my GoFundMe project page. You can find that over on my Twitch channel.
Yes. You know what? And by the way, let me put this in here now. You guys check out this link when you get some time. We always are happy to support folks in our community. There's the link there for the GoFundMe. He's got information there on the page regarding this. And if you guys want to throw some love and some bucks in his direction, that he's being another ambassador in our community, and he's doing this on his own, because of his heart and his love and passion for not only Star Citizens community, but his heart and love for VR. And so take a look at that, lock it down, put it on the side, and then give some consideration to supporting this brother, because he's got a good heart and he's got a good thing going on for the community here. Okay.
Thank you so much. Hopefully, eventually, we'll get a van for the cockpit, and I'll be able to take it to more places, so I don't have to rent a truck.
Nice. There you go. There you go. All right. 2 things real quick, just to pass over these. Most of us who are in the community know about these two. As you guys know, we had these annual events that take place in Star Citizens universe, one of them being Koramor. And also the Red Festival, February. These 2 festivals kick off. And of course, CIG, you know them. They're always going to have their great Koramor or Red Festival sale and event going on. So for those of you who don't know about these events, there's plenty of information on the website regarding them. There are special items, usually it's some type of paint or some type of uniform or armor that comes out during this particular time. So check that out when you get some time. Almost over. Oh my God. Thank you so much for donating $100. Woo! Thank you so much. We love you and appreciate you. And Captain Jones, I saw you. Thank you for those 5 community subs. Again, you guys are kicking us off wonderfully for the month of February. Thank you. We truly love and appreciate you. So Koramor, Red Festival. Sure.
Who has a what do you call it? A Heart Seeker?
I don't. Do you have one,
a
CC?
Heart Seeker Mark 1?
And
no, I got a Heart Seeker Mark 2.
You got both.
I got the red special Valentine's Day livery for the racing buggy. For the Daymar Rally that has the boost button that never actually worked, so I've never raced it before. So yeah, I love me some Koramor stuff.
Well, I would say this. Great. I hate to say this, but I have the Love Struck paints. I love that particular color, that purplish red that they have. Dude, I've got that on my freaking Scorpius. I love that paint. Oh God. And I got it on the Nomad too. So I got sucked into that whole commercial with the bike and the Nomad thing back when it came out. So, but I love that particular paint. And, the paints are great. They do good paints, I will say. And didn't they?
The cinematic team always sucks you in. They're really
good.
Do.
They do. That's a good way of putting it.
If we're giving credit where credit's due, the CIG's cinematic team is on par with, I would say, Blizzard.
It is. It's crazy.
The greats like Blizzard, as far as what they can produce.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that their cinematics do more to sell and convince you to buy than anything else. Because I'm not buying anything else. Then you see that new trailer and it's like,
they give you that feeling. You feel the movie. It's hard to explain, but you feel it.
Yes, they know how to get you. You're absolutely right on
Especially
that.
when a ship really sings to you, like those Wolf, like the
stop. Don't even talk about it. They got me on both of them.
And have you seen the cockpit in VR? The little clock, it looks like a concept inside of it.
Unreal. It's amazing. Okay, February subscriber promotions. Since we're talking about that, for those of you who are like me, I hate to say it, y'all know I'm a clothes whore, right? I'm terrible I buy clothes like crazy, right? But I also like furniture, okay? And even though we don't have listen, these guys, Chachi doesn't know this about me. I'll tell Chachi. Chachi, I'm such a snob, right? I'm not putting this stuff up in a hangar. I want my apartment, okay? But, you know, I know some people who actually decorate their hangars. And for those of you who like doing that, that's fine. But these are the subscriber promotions for this month. Now, mind you, let's be specific. It's not everything that's on this screen. If you're a subscriber, there's the little heart light that you see on the side nightstands. That's what's out there. And also the table. There's a table that you get this time. These other items have been sold in the past. So this is just all of it now. Go ahead.
The bed, the pillows, and the couch I already have, and the poster in the back.
The poster too.
Got with my
yeah.
I got that with my Heartseeker.
Oh yeah.
The light up lights and the tables are gonna look great.
Absolutely. CC, I know what type of romantic you are. I know that you're a ladies' man. you picked all this stuff up, right? I'm sure, right?
I got it with the subscriber flare. So,
okay.
So I got the lamp and the table, I believe, but the rest of the stuff I think I'm gonna hold off for the time.
Okay. All right. Okay. You can wait till you have your building and your crafting, and then you'll get it.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait till I get my abode to fully furnish.
It really ties the room together. Highly recommend.
Yeah.
All right. That's more than fair. Let me ask you guys a question. The fact that CIG has been introducing these items, right? You know, I mean, don't get me wrong. They still do armor and things like that and weapons, but they've also been getting into this thing of props, right? And, you know, of course, last year before, we saw this whole thing that they're introducing this idea of habs and crafting. If you were to take your own gut feeling, and you know, this is just, you know, just what do you think? How close do you think we are to being able to have our own place where now we can actually take these items and place them? A year away, 2 years away, 1.0 away? CC, let me go to Chachi first, and I'll come to CC.
Go for it.
No. Guests are always first. You first.
Oh, okay. So if you're asking me, if CIG ever wants to sell to anybody that is not already buying into the game and is a huge fan of space stuff and is just a big space nerd and space this, space that, if they want to tap into unknown markets, they need to get some Sims people to be able to take things that they have and place those on shelves into habitats that they build. If they could do that with all of these props, that's just a huge untapped market for CIG. And I think that that's one of their end goals, is to obviously not just, you know, be the best space sim ever, but be one of maybe the best MMOs ever. And you know how much people spend, like, you know, stinking time into building their little island and decorating their little nooks and stuff like that. And I think that that's like a potentially huge side thing. And if they want it to be like that, then it's got to be before 1.0. They got to be iterating on it soon. I'm thinking, if you're asking me as a betting man, this year we'll have a basic hovel that we can craft, none of the big stuff from CitizenCon, but some sort of hovel, and we'll be able to finally store, because they need data on being able to actually track and save in between patches, which is, I think, what they were talking about on Tech Talk, doing that with ships, but not only that, but objects in your little home on a moon, in a little rock somewhere on an asteroid.
Okay.
So I think that if they're able to do that, huge untapped market of new people that just want to build a little space in space.
Okay. CC, what about you? Any thoughts on when being able to have and let me expand it a little bit more, because I think he hit it on the crafting side, but I'll also spread up a little bit more. Do you think that it doesn't always have to be about creating your own location? What about an apartment, right? Like some, you know, maybe Microtech now has, you can rent a space.
Modular hangars eventually too.
Yeah, so. Modular hangars too, yeah. So what do you think? Do you think that CC... Well, let me ask you this question too. And Chachi, if you want to respond after he says this, then feel free to jump in, because it's an additional question. Do you think that we will get crafting locations first, or that we will get, I can rent an apartment at Microtech first and then get where I can build my own? CC, what do you think is going to happen?
I think we are probably going to get crafting locations first, just because they have this focus on crafting right now, with the inventory and everything else that's happening. But I think some clues in that in the talk with
Benoit?
The tech talk that just happened.
Benoit?
Where they talked about spawning in place.
Mm-hmm.
A large part of that kind of ties into this with habs and being able to spawn where you log out at, because that's a feature that's going to be necessary to have those different habs in different places that you can spawn in at. So I think that is right on point with this year, next year at the latest, those silo systems needing to come online.
Okay. Chachi, what do you think?
So I think he's right. It's going to be crafting first, making something out of nothing. And then I think we won't be seeing apartment technology until we have tested and shown off instancing technology. I think we'll get ArcCorp apartments and the sewers both at the same time. That's what I think that they can roll those out, because they kind of go hand in hand, right? They need to really, really nail down instancing to have one building or one room access 1,000 players. You know?
Right.
So I think once they get instancing nailed down, I think that's when we'll really start to see player rentable habs instead of player buildable.
Okay.
Habs. And I don't know if we'll get buildable habs immediately with crafting tier 0. More than likely, we'll just get item crafting.
Yeah.
But if they finally allow us to build a place, we have stuff to place in it. Okay. So I think that's a big drive for them, because they, we got all this stuff.
Right.
I have a heart-shaped bed. I want a place to put it.
Yeah. You mean you don't want to sit it next to the kiosk in your hangars? It doesn't fit the decor for you. In the self-lin hanger.
Car space bed smelling like jet fuel.
Okay.
It's right next to the exhaust plumes of the ships.
All right. So now I'm going to springboard a question that both of you guys said, and I want to get your thoughts on this. There are a group of people, you hear these conversations all the time, right? There are the people who they want Star Citizen to be the simulator, right? They want it to be as close to space and what it means to live in that space as possible. There are other people who want the game to be, and I'm going to say the word gamified, but I don't mean arcadey. In other words, well, not even tourists. No, let me give an example of what I mean. CC's question statement brought this up to me. Okay, so spawning in place, right? People say, oh, that sounds so cool. Wherever I log out at, that's where I'm at. There's another group of people, though, who really like the idea of having to go to your bed to log off, go to your apartment to log off, right?
So
here's my question. Okay. We've had all this stuff about beds, and I know we've been trying to figure out where's CIG going with beds now, because originally we always thought we had to get in bed. I used to play Eve. You always had to log out at a certain place. This, logging, like starting in your hangar versus starting in your hab. It's been changing. My question to you is, do you lean more toward the living in the world and doing what I would do in the real world scenario, and time isn't a factor for you? Or are you the person who says, I'm going to log off in the middle of the woods, and when I come back, I want to wake up in the middle of the woods. I don't want to have to think about going back to my ship and getting in my bed, or getting in my vehicle and getting in my bed. So Chachi, you give me your pros and cons on whichever one you want to give it to me on.
All right. So I remember they've talked about tech in the past where if you logged out, not in a bed, some sort of NPC system would take over your avatar, fly you to a hab, the nearest place that you could log off, and then you'd wake up in there. Not a bad idea for people who want that to happen in the background. But if there is such a system, and if they are going to do that, it should be toggleable. I think that if you want to log off and be in the middle of a forest and continue your adventure next time, you should be able to choose to do that if the technology allows them to, right? So there was one.
Do you feel that brings? Do you think that creates issues where, like, how you have to, like, sometimes you can't log out in certain areas, right? Because you don't want to have people camping and stuff like that, right? Okay.
So armistice zones and stuff applying here and there, whatever. But as far as like having a specific place to log out, like the bed, and if you want to encourage that off of people who would want to come back into their forced session that they were exploring in the middle of on another night, I would say, just like World of Warcraft, you log off in an inn, you get percent increased experience when you're leveling, right? Give the players bonuses for when they log out in a proper spot like a bed. Give them better bonuses if they go to a city. You know, give them something.
Incentive
give them an
in some form. Okay.
Yes. Let them auto walk back if they're still doing that. Make that toggleable and let them have their forced adventure. And then, yeah, this is my 3 points. And then that third one I just mentioned. Let them give an incentive to log out in a bed in a city over their forced adventure. So that's how I would solve that.
Okay. All right. CC, what's your thoughts?
So I used to be a ARC player.
Okay.
And there were options where you can go back to your house and you can log out in your bed and you were safe, relatively safe there. You would get points for restoring your health and, you know, bonus points for sleeping and all that. But you can log out also out in nature. Now, if you chose to log out in nature, you weren't protected. When you were logged out, a dinosaur can come along and eat you, attack you. So there are risks to doing that. Also, if you're out there for too long, you can starve, you can, you know, dehydrate. So I kind of like a system like that. You can choose to log out in the middle of the wilderness. If you're gone a day, you're gone 2 days, then you run the risk of your character succumbing to the elements out there. So to me, that feels right in this situation. So there's a benefit to going back to a bed.
Yeah, both of you guys have really good compromise as to how both of those could work. Y'all played a trick on me because I was trying to get you to pick one or the other, and y'all figured out a way to make both of them work.
I was about to say, man, like that's actually a good idea. I didn't think about that because that means that if you applied that to my systems, then that means that your forced adventure you would have to plan for if it was going to take a second night, right?
Yeah,
and it would make that forced adventure that much more meaningful too.
Yeah, it would. And if you knew that you were going to like it's one thing, like if you said, hey, I need to go have dinner, or, you know, I got to go make a run, I'll be back tomorrow morning, and we can pick up from where we left off at. It's another thing to say, it's today's Monday and I'm not playing again until Saturday, right?
Yeah.
You know, so now
so that's where
I got a plan. I got a plan, like you said.
Kind of start to weigh it out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And to your point, bringing vehicles that have, or something that has the ability for me to sleep in it is important at that point too, right? I've got, you said you got to plan ahead of time.
A bigger vehicle instead of a small buggy might actually be worth it for you.
That's very good points. Okay. All right. See, these guys are smarter than I am. All right. Cool stuff. All right.
That's right.
Let's talk about the monthly report for January. I didn't do November and December because this is gone now. We're in February. Is there anything from it does anything from this particular January monthly report that stood out to you guys? It is something that you're excited about, basically.
Do you even have the monthly report itself? I honestly haven't.
Is the link there?
I haven't had time.
I don't even know if
it is. See, January was Daymar Rally for me. So
yes, you were all involved. Yeah, you were engrossed.
We were fighting for third place in the truck division for most of the day. It was crazy with the VR. I run the VR Citizens team.
Yeah.
All VR team. We've been running it for 3 years now. So yeah, the first year we actually have native support.
Okay, hey, no problem. Well, then as always, when people haven't touched on something, we don't put any pressure on them. Don't worry about it. Some things I can share with you guys.
Yes. No.
You got something? You got something? Okay.
I saw the pictures. Yes,
okay.
We got the. I'm gonna get an ironclad because I own a Kraken.
Okay.
And I have a picture of a Kraken.
Yes.
There's just the that someone said that this is the front of it. I thought it was the side.
The picture
it's just a girder.
The picture,
girder.
Well,
right?
the picture I saw, I know which one you're talking about. I don't know what that one is, but people believe that the pictures that were above it were of the ironclad, and so
the ones above it are the ironclad for sure.
Yeah, I don't know what
outside, though,
I don't know what the superstructure. I guess it is. I don't know what the superstructure of those two ships looks like.
Saying in the top
is that
right
the Kraken, y'all?
Kraken photo. Yeah, the top right of the Kraken photo is the front turret, but it's just barely visible.
It does. Yeah, I see the turret they're talking about now, the gray area up there. That could be. Sorry, guys, I don't have a photo of this to put on the screen for you, but I see what you're talking about. Yeah, that could be.
I'm excited either way. I'll get to play with all of my toys, hopefully sooner than later. And,
okay.
Oh my gosh, colored. I'm just tickled that I'm gonna more than likely have my Kraken before somebody else has their what do you call it, merchantman.
Oh, yeah,
That's
really.
just insane.
Oh,
to me
you're
when I
gonna
got
get
it so
fast cart
long
worked
ago.
up. Oh God, you're gonna get fast cart worked up saying that. cc, what about you? Is there anything in here that got you excited that you saw in the January report?
Yeah, they made mention about the Apex Valakar and work on it transversing the nav mesh. And I know that they had planned on that coming in with the Hathor stuff and the mining, and there were some blockers there. So I'm hoping that means that they're getting closer to that system functioning properly, and we'll finally see that Apex Valakar come into the game and have a real big boss battle to look forward to.
Yeah. Under art, under ships, I think there were 5 ships unannounced that were from UK, and I think there's 1 from North America. My question to you guys in relation to ships, we just recently got the Hermes, a cargo variant or version. It's the Apollo kind of body styling, but it's its own thing. But my question to you guys is this. It is. It's a great ship. My question to you guys is this, though. Do you feel... We had a lot of ships the last couple of years. A lot of ships got dumped on us. What didn't get dumped on us, though, was new stuff to do, new careers. Are you hoping that this time ships like the Expanse, Liberator, that something that's doing different areas of gameplay begin to get introduced versus versions of ships that we kind of already have? Like an Araster would be great. Don't get me wrong. An Araster would be great, but we've got mining ships. You know what I mean? We've got this new Argo thing that's supposedly coming that most people believe is a salvager. So, but we've got salvage. Are you interested in the frickin' farming thing or the frickin', some other aspect of gameplay to be introduced?
Genesis Starliner.
Oh, transport, huh? You'd like to see transport?
They already said that because that's the last ship that I want to add to my fleet is the Starliner, and they already said that they will not have transportation and stuff like that for 1.0. So I'm done. I don't even think it's going to make.
Which is so depressing to me because I want the E1 to come out. Even just the E1, I'd be happy. Sucks.
Like just in VR, taking transports from like Tressler to Seraphim, just back and forth.
Yeah,
listen to some tunes. It'd be great.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the other things that they have, so hacking ships, boarding ships with hacking,
right?
Because they had that one that attaches.
Right.
You got the mine layer.
Right.
And then like I guess there's like hydroponic-y kind of growing farmy ships, but
yeah, that gets to the Endeavor level.
Endeavor, and you swap the science things out. So,
but the problem, and you're absolutely right on all those. I would love to see any of those come, but those are all announced. They're saying 5 unannounced, and I'm saying, do you think that any of these might be introducing some new area of gameplay?
We have prison transportation, literal, like actual take a guy in a pod in the back. So that's not one.
Yeah. There's no farming, crafting. What about something? Isn't the
relating to farming and crafting? I would say.
Do you think the build is a possibility? Do you guys think the build is a possibility? I know they're working on the Pioneer, but do you think the build is a sleeper to finish off the Starlancer series? Do you think that could creep in?
Isn't that an announced ship?
It's an announced ship. I'm just asking. Do you think it's one? In other words, my question is this. My question is this. Do you think they're going to do like when they did the RSI series of stuff? They started with the big guy, right? The Polaris, and they work in backwards. Polaris, Perseus, Galaxy. Do you think when it comes to crafting and building, though, they're going to go Pioneer and work back, or do you think they're going to go, since the Starlancer body's already done? Do you think they're going to go with the Starlancer and introduce that and then go Pioneer?
I don't think the Pioneer is ready enough for them to.
There's a lot involved in that.
You put out a Pioneer that's planetary scale base building.
Yeah,
needs to be ready. Like you can't drop the Pioneer without that, right? So we need like 6 other steps, like outpost building, crafting.
So you want something to grow to.
Extra steps.
You want them to grow to that
to get to the Pioneer. So I'm thinking it's going to be that other one.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
cc, what do you think?
Like if I were a betting man, I'd say that before the Pioneer, because that's. I mean, unless they have it all ready and they drop it all, but I don't think
Yeah.
Like, is Pioneer even in white box? Like,
they said they were working on it this year. That's all they said.
Yeah. Same with Kraken.
They're not done.
So.
Yeah, they're not there yet. Yeah. CC, what do you think?
I don't think we're.
You think they're gonna?
Yeah. So I think since the Star Lancer tech is done, I think that body is done. I think the build is the next progression.
Okay.
To come out, they have that hull kind of already in place. And then they've already talked about having the Galaxy for IAE next year. So that's a next step up in the construction. So I think that's kind of the path they're going to take.
That would be cool. That would be a good progression. Okay. All right. Well, there was a couple other things that they had in here, if I'm remembering correctly. I know that they want to, and we're going to, we could kind of migrate this actually into the next conversation, because this one I know that we want to talk about a little bit more. And that is the tech talk with Benoit Beausejour. Monsieur Benoit Beausejour. And as you guys know, this was a third in the series of conversations that Jared Huckabee has had with Benoit. And these are things that we actually
now.
Yeah, we look forward to, right? This has been really informative, and it kind of, to me, fits a good space. There are three voices that speak on behalf of the direction of this game. And we've watched them grow into it. Previously was always Chris Roberts. And then we've had Richard Tyrer, who has also become that voice that the community respects and listens to. And Benoit is that third voice. And so each time we get an opportunity to have any of those people speak to us, it's usually a time where the community is sitting on their chairs and listening and hearing what's going on. And so, Chachi, I'm going to come to you. If there are a couple points during this as usual, 2-hour long conversation that's held, things that stood out for you in this particular one.
I watched the whole thing the other day, got my reaction up on YouTube. The VR parts stuck out. Those were kind of cool. But honestly, like, if you're talking about what I just keep thinking about over and over across that entire 2-hour video, was something that's not even on the table. And it was what he wanted. And it's what we all wanted, what we've all been begging for. And that's cockpit control, saving profiles, saving keybinds, just a whole rework of that entire thing. And if I'm a betting man, they can't let that go much further. If they want Squadron 42 to come out this year, they kind of got to refactor the ability to bind your keybinds in that game, before they get it to the public. So I don't know. Maybe I'm a crazy guy. Maybe they should have a strike team to do that above all else now, yesterday, last year.
Yeah. No, that's a good, very, very good point. I was just talking to some friends the other day, because since I've gotten back into doing VR, I got back into doing it in Microsoft Flight Simulator. And one of the things I really do like about that is when you go into set up a binding in there, you just type the word throttle, and it does this thing, and you just move the throttle and boom, it's done, right? There's no having to assign or anything.
It's so archaic.
It is. It is. Go ahead.
And what I really hope that they do is, like Tarkov, they have like 4 different key binds instead of the one binding. I want a double bind. I want a triple bind, separate buttons to the same thing. I really want a solid overhaul.
Yeah, there's so many controls in
this
game.
Windows IDs instead of device IDs or whatever it should be, so it doesn't re-swap every time you start the computer.
Yeah. CC, how about you? Something from the conversation that stuck out for you?
There were so many things. I'll narrow it down to 2 things. One was opening up APIs so that third-party peripheral devices can access information.
Cool.
The second thing was no more blanket wipes. I think that's going to radically change the way people approach the game, and give people more incentive to actually play the game and acquire stuff without having to worry about, when 1.0 comes, I'm going to lose all my stuff, so why bother anyway? Hopefully this will have people more invested long-term into playing the alpha that we have right now.
Yeah.
On that point, what do you guys think about the targeted wipes. It's not like full wipes, but like targeted,
right?
Whatever the word that they said that they were going to do.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but somebody just sent me $1 billion last week. So it's crazy. The economy is insane.
Yeah.
I didn't even ask for it. I just have it now. So
yeah.
It's crazy out there.
It's funny because the economy, you know, what we want to call an economy is it's its own weird thing, right? There's no value there in reality. The value is the time that people spend to accumulate it and to, you know, the experiences that they have. But that's pretty much it. And there are a lot of people, as you both know, that people have been predicting the last 2 patches that a wipe is coming. This is one of the things that I try to say this to people, and it's like I think people hear it, but sometimes I think they don't. I am beyond trying to predict what CIG is doing anymore. I really am. I'm beyond that point. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of times when you can read the tea leaves and you can kind of maybe see a general direction, but people were having this conversation the last couple of weeks, and then Benoit comes out and says, "Oh, well, we're just going to do a targeted wipe now," right? And it ain't happening right now, So everybody was sweating and paranoid and going crazy for 2 weeks.
He also said he said in as many words as he's allowed to, we're also kind of watching you guys screw around with it so that we can, and so it's hard. He's right. It's a really hard position to give up the game as far as like, we're watching them. We're not going to actively do anything so that we can make better tools in the future to thwart this stuff. Yeah. But, in an alpha constant in design game that kind of leaves us hanging out,
But let's say this too. This issue of exploits, cheats, whatever you want to call them, is going to be here. Alpha, beta, zeta, 1.0, 1.2. It will be a monster that they will always be fighting. Please, folks, y'all get worked up about these exploits, and I understand when it's something that throws off economic dynamics, but we're playing with monopoly money right now. We need to give CIG every opportunity to address this because it's not going to stop. There will be always somebody. Listen, there's an old saying: when the good people are sleeping, the bad people are up scheming. There will always be people trying to figure out how to do whatever they can in this game. And you guys have seen it. You've seen people. CC and I were talking about this before the show started. You all saw that there was an actual cheat where people built a full UI. They built a full software program to cheat in an alpha. Okay?
And so
it ain't gonna stop.
Exactly what I wanted to bring up. Like at some point in the last year, like in summer, it tipped over from nobody cares about Star Citizen, nobody cares, to like, oh crap, everybody's playing it. We can sell cheats for money now. And once that tip happened, now it's a money-making business to sell cheats and hacks for this game.
Yep.
It was economically unviable beforehand.
Yep.
Now it is economically viable for the powers that be, the cheat makers and creators and stuff.
Yep.
So, and that actually hit my community and my channel the hardest. I talked with some CIG developers and said, you guys aren't going to do anything with easy anti-cheat. You're not going to update it to where I can't use my third-party programs and play in VR. Like the VR community is safe because this has happened like twice before. And I figured out bypasses and ways around it to get VR up and running. And so this has been a tenuous thing with the VR community for years now. And they said, yeah, no, you're good. It won't be till like after or like near 1.0 in a few years, when we get closer to doing something like that. And then the next week, I get back from that June Bar Citizen. Thank God it was before that or after that. The hacking scandal hits. The Reddit posts and Spectrum posts are all over the place. The Tuesday after that, they update Easy Anti-Cheat and Brick VR, third-party programs. And then I was almost getting partnered on Twitch. I had like 3 or 4 sessions where I'd like got like 80 to 100 viewers, and then no more VR. And I couldn't do anything about it. And like just the community scattered, all my viewers are gone, nobody can play VR anymore, and it is just a nightmare. But it only lasted like 4 or 5 months. And that was the most surprising part, was the Christmas VR.
Come out and surprise you out of that, right.
So even I wasn't expecting it before 1.0.
So we just want you guys to know that this is going to be just a continuous fight. That company will always have to be on point and checking into this aspect of exploits and cheats and like every other game, right? I mean, it's just something that's out there. And we just have to do what we can to report it when that stuff happens in the game. Let me say this real quick too about Benoit.
Easy answer. Oh yeah.
Do me a favor. If it's got something to do with VR, save it for the VR half because I want to keep so people don't lose on VR.
Yep.
The thing with Benoit, one of the things that I appreciate is his candor, and I think that the community has been asking for a long time for CIG to basically said, CIG, just tell us what's going on, right? You don't have to handle us with kid gloves anymore. We've been around long enough. Just tell us what's up, and we're grown. We can handle it. Not even that. I mean the candor in the sense of when things aren't working, they say it, right? And like, for example, this whole transit system thing coming up. And they talk about the fact that the old architecture, first of all, cannot work within the system that they're doing now. And that there was just some stuff that was put in there at the time, but it needs an overhaul. It needs to be done, right? And so...
admitting the hangars were like
the
hangars were good, but it wasn't until that one event
everybody came in when everybody came in and hit it, right? They introduced this new thing.
They admitted that was an oversight,
and that's my point.
It was good, but it was not.
And that is my point. The fact that they say that, because it'd be very easy for them to dismiss it and just move on. They talked about the complexity of the elevators and how difficult that were. And a lot of times we don't think about. I know the elevators have been the pariah of those of us who've been in this game forever. But, I've always said, whenever you see something in their development and it seems crazy, instead of saying it's crazy, ask why are they doing it? There must be a reason why, because we all know that they could do a lot of things, quote unquote. We think that they could do certain things easier. The question is, why do they do it? Now, some people will say, oh, just because he has this dream and it's complex. That's not a good business decision, and it's definitely not a good game development decision. They have reasons for why the transit system, and they said transit is not just elevators; it's the trams. It's a whole lot of stuff involved in that, and we still don't know in the future how complex. I think Chachi, you were just talking about the underground system that's going to come into the game. We don't know what other things are going to get introduced that might be involved when it comes to transit. So I'm looking forward to the update. Y'all know I live in ArcCorp, so I was so happy to hear that they're going to hit ArcCorp first because ArcCorp needs it. But I also know that people in Microtech have way more problems with their trams. Y'all stuff be flying off the rails, and y'all be waking up in the hotel and all types of stuff over there. At least in Area 18, we don't have those problems that folks at Microtech do. But I like the fact that Benoit will talk about what they're working on, what isn't working, where they are. The strike team stuff that they've been talking about is also, you just mentioned that, Chachi, is really interesting. The fact that they've kind of put these teams together and that they're focused on working on certain problems. And I think the other thing too that is some of us to remember, teams are not always 100 people. Teams sometimes are more than 3 people, 5 people working on something. And I know a lot of times people think it is, right? And who has expertise, right, in those areas and who they can pull, they can dedicate time to. Now, one of the things that we do think, I think you guys give me your opinion on this. I do think that one of the reasons why we're seeing things happen faster is not just because we've been demanding it. I think that's part of it. That pressure was there. But I also think it's because, you just said it, Chachi, people have been freed up from Squadron. And so now these people can start focusing in on the persistent universe. And I've said, you guys have heard me say this before, it is important that the persistent universe come together post Squadron 42. I don't think you can have some 2-year, 3-year gap between the persistent universe working well and Squadron 42. You're going to lose a lot of freaking people as far as I'm concerned. To me, it's optimum for people to come out of Squadron and within a reasonable amount of time have a persistent universe to come into. That's working, not a buggy one, but a working persistent universe.
Yeah. I agree. At least semi-stable and working with what they got. And as far as their 1.0 visions and stuff and how long people are willing to wait, I give them, like, as far as coming in after Squadron 42 to the first IAE or Invictus trailers, then they'll be hooked with the dream, the vision.
Okay.
I think they'll be able to wait like us at that point once they realize what's truly going on behind the scenes. Squadron 42 is definitely the most important thing for CIG as far as new blood and giving them breathing room as far as not being reliant on the current overzealous fans who buy up ships to keep them afloat.
Okay. CC, you got anything else? Any thoughts on that before we get moving forward?
Nope, completely agree with what's said. And once Squadron 42 and those speed runners, gamers of today, get their hands on it, they'll be coming into the persistent universe looking for new things to do. I think we need to really be in a place that CIG can have those, like they're doing right now, those events and things that keep pushing out content. So it's really good that they're figuring that stuff out right now.
So speaking of speedrunning, I speed ran Project Hyperion from the ASD facilities. Want to know what my fastest time was?
No, what was it?
Solo for the whole project, 24 minutes from beginning to end.
Wow.
Including doing the 0G area, going through the elevators, fighting, going down, 24 minutes. It's crazy the routing you actually have to do to get that type of time. A lot of it is skipping as much as possible and hoping you don't die.
Now, was that flat screen or in VR?
That was, let's see here. I got to think of the timing because that was right around when the EAC update hit. I'm pretty sure that was in flat screen. That was just me, trying to do something besides VR.
Keeping yourself going.
So yeah. Yeah,
you challenge
basically
yourself.
Just passing time and doing speed running.
Yeah, you challenge yourself.
And I plan to speed run. I plan to take my goal is to take my mobile cockpit and be on the stage of GDQ to show off Squadron 42 in VR.
That'd
be a speed running demo.
That'd be cool.
I would think that would be amazing.
That would be cool. Okay. All right. Well, listen, we are getting ready to take our break. We are just about to reach the top of the hour. We're going to do a quick commercial break and then for 1 minute, and then we're going to do our 4-minute break. So if there's a time that you would like to get something to drink, something to eat, take a little personal, it's the perfect time to do that.
One last thing that I have to say about Benoit's Tech Talk and the taking the harder road over the easier one. That ties into the entire next portion of the thing. If they didn't take the hard road on so many things, we wouldn't have VR tier 0 in as good of a position as it is.
Absolutely.
So that's
absolutely.
all I'll say about
and keep that thought because I want to talk about the fact of the foresight of that once we get through the Chris Roberts section.
Teaser there.
So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Yeah. So we are going to take, as I said, take our break and then we're going to be right back. So get your whatever you got to do right now and we'll see you guys shortly. Okay. And we'll be right back.
Beautiful. I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick.
Sure. Greetings, everybody. If you are watching this, that means you are a subscriber and a sponsor to our show. We're going to take our little break for a few minutes, but as always, we want to tell you guys thank you for just being here and being supportive of us. We hope that you guys have been enjoying what we've been sharing today. Don't forget that we also have the latest edition of The Producers out, where we talked about some really cool stuff for the month of February. So I hope you guys have had a chance to take a look at that. CC, thank you for being here. We're introducing CC, y'all, this month. We've got a couple more people that are joining the team, but he's the first one that bit. Thank you for filling in today, too, because I would have been here by myself. So I appreciate you being here.
Absolutely happy to be here.
All right. And we are going to get ready to go into our second half of our show. So we're going to take a quick break for about 4 minutes, and then we'll be back right after this commercial. So I think I'm going to hit this in just a second here. Yeah, here we go.
Virtual reality possesses...
Oops, that's the wrong thing.
On and on across the stars we fly, soul citizens, bringing us that endless sky. We each build up what we want to be, but together we're making history. On and on, on and on. fly, soul citizens, bringing us that endless sky. We each build up what we want to be, but together we're making history on and on. On and on.
Johan, Captain Jones, Fast Card FC, Gomab ATL, Griffin Gaming RPG, Jade Star Watcher, Karate, Colossal, Serious Fun, Summer Geo, Unique, Yo-Yo Man!
Virtual reality possesses an awe-inspiring power that can transport us into extraordinary realms. From immersive storytelling to virtual training simulations, VR presents boundless opportunities. The concept of virtual reality first emerged with the development of stereoscopic images in the 1800s. Stereoscopic photography involved capturing two slightly different angled images and presenting them side by side. In 1832, Sir Charles Wheatstone invented the stereoscope, a device equipped with mirrors angled at 45 degrees to reflect images into each eye from the left and right side. By viewing these images through a stereoscope, viewers experienced a remarkable three-dimensional effect. Stereoscopy later became the foundation for capturing images and films in 3D, captivating audiences with an illusion of depth and enhanced realism. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, various stereoscopic viewers and cards allowed people to explore different places and experience virtual-like environments. In 1968, computer scientist Ivan Sutherland created the Sword of Damocles, the first head-mounted display, or HMD. Though primitive by today's standards, it showcased the potential for immersive experiences by overlaying computer-generated graphics onto the user's field of view. In the 1980s, Jaron Lanier founded VPL Research, coining the term virtual reality by producing VR hardware and software. Meanwhile, companies like Virtuality and Division emerged, and organizations such as Disney, Sega, various universities, and militaries extensively researched and experimented with VR. However, high costs and limited capabilities hindered the widespread adoption of VR technology. In 2012, Palmer Luckey launched a Kickstarter campaign for the Oculus Rift, a high-quality, consumer-oriented VR headset. This campaign's success marked a turning point, reigniting interest in VR and attracting significant investment from industry giants and independent developers alike. Since then, the VR landscape has continued to evolve. The industry has seen the release of various VR headsets, such as the HTC Vive, Apple Vision Pro, PlayStation VR, and updated versions of the Oculus Rift. Nowadays, modern VR headsets are able to enhance the sense of immersion and interactivity in VR by offering higher resolutions, improved tracking, and advances in haptic feedback, motion controllers, and room scale tracking. As VR continues to advance, it has the potential to revolutionize education, entertainment, healthcare, and beyond, ushering in a new era of limitless possibilities.
Alrighty. We are back, and hope you guys got a little break in there. We are starting our second half of our show. I'm Griffin Gaming RPG, and I'm joined today by one of our newest members of the Soul Citizens team, ccCreator. What's up, my friend? How are you doing? Are you refreshed? Are you ready for round two?
Doing good, ready to go.
All right. And we are also joined by our special guest today, well-known name in the Star Citizen community. And we hope that we'll be able to have him on again and again. Chachi Sanchez is here with us today. How are you, my friend?
Just doing the voodoo that I do. I'm glad to be here.
Well, we're glad to have you here, my friend. Glad to have you here. Listen, I want to kind of kick things off here. We started out our show with a little intro here to kind of give you guys a little bit of background on VR. And I think I did share this earlier, that our intention was to introduce some people to VR. Believe it or not, VR is not something that a lot of people have. It's you would think gaming and people with virtual reality, it would be something, but there's a very small percentage of gamers who actually have VR headsets. Sometimes they may have tried it out once and they didn't feel comfortable with the technology, and so they've kind of let it go. Some people may have tried it at a friend's house or something like that, but it is not as common as a joystick or a keyboard for most gamers. And one of the things that we're going to be doing today is introducing that to some of you here that may be curious about VR, especially because Star Citizen has introduced it into the game officially. Some of you are veterans of VR and have been around for a long time. You're old dogs with this stuff, so it'll be just kind of a refresher course. But we do want to also bring you up to where things are in relation to Star Citizen. And so before we do that, though, I want to again kind of lend a little bit more toward Chachi at this point. All three of us are VR people. Well, I think, CC, I didn't ask you, how long ago did you get involved in VR? Because I didn't even think I asked you that.
Yeah, my first VR was the Oculus DK1.
Okay, so we all go back to the DK1. Jeez, geez, yeah, we all go back. Oh my God. Okay, we were all old.
Never got my hands on a DK1.
We are old. The old developer kit one. Jeez. So we all go back a bit with this, but Chachi in particular goes back in relation to Star Citizen longer than I think all of us do, and it's also been consistently learning, tweaking, introducing VR to people in our community. He has been like the Lone Ranger, literally for a decade, doing VR. And I remember when VR first was introduced. And before I'm getting that, I don't want to get into that yet because we're going to get to that in a minute. Let me first introduce you guys to him. Okay, because I want to do that first. Why don't you give us a little bit of just your general VR background, and then we can kind of pick it up from there. So Chachi, you go ahead and tell us a little bit about you.
So if we're talking about just VR in general, I'm the type of guy who stayed on 1080p monitors well after he got an Index, and only recently in the past couple of years graduated straight to 4K.
Okay, now let's stop a second. Stop. Remember, some of our audience may not know what the Index is. So I would say tell them the Steam Index. Okay, go ahead.
The Steam Index, if we're talking about chronology order, this is the DK2 headset that was the developer kit from the Oculus guys who are making the Rift, right? This is the Oculus Rift, right? The first consumer grade commercial headset, the CV1. Index is the Valve Index made by Valve, Steam. This is the big giant headset that got everybody into VR, basically with the launch of Half-Life Alyx and a couple of other games that was like the forefront as far as like a new generation of VR. Then you got your Quest 3, which is the next new generation as far as wireless VR for your average person to play on a couch. And now we are looking at the next generation that we are basically on the precipice of going downhill on.
Absolutely.
So if that's a general idea of the breakdown of headsets, that's pretty much the flow and history of where we've come from. So, but yeah, I went straight from 1080p to VR, and I only recently got a 4K monitor. So that's how important it was to me as far as upgrades and whatnot. And if we're talking about Star Citizen and VR, I was just a VR enthusiast, you know, just playing whatever games you could in VR. And I always knew that Star Citizen had the potential to be the greatest game of all time, and by proxy, the greatest VR game of all time. Once it finally got the ability to like go to Olisar and like fly around in that little space, that was workable in VR in those days. That's when I started playing Star Citizen. And then shortly after that, the Sylvan specifically, I found this out later, yanked out that code for VR of the engine. That code was Crytek's VR code. And if any VR fans out there have ever played Crytek's The Climb, that's the Star Citizen VR code that we used to play on.
Okay. All right. So let me hit you something, because I got something I want to surprise you with. At least I think I do. Hold on a second. I got to make sure I have the right thing here for it. Why is this not popping up? This is not working well. Hold on a minute. My stuff is. I had something here for you. Okay. So Chachi just gave you guys a little bit of a background here. I want to show you guys something. I did a little homework on Chachi. Okay. You know, and one thing, you know how they say the internet doesn't forget anything, right? So this is going back here.
Electronic access.
Oh boy.
Now, for those of you who don't remember this, the electronic access, remember this, Chachi?
Yeah. Oh man.
Right now.
I forgot that I'd filmed some of this stuff. So it was the Hanger module that was in before even really Olisar.
Yes.
And yeah, this was like the very, very first taste. This is when I actually had to go buy Star Citizen, and I could look at my ships in VR.
Right. And so here he's got two ships he's looking at. One is a Mustang, and then he looks at the P-52 Merlin. And
you enter from the bottom in the Mustang. I remember how old this is.
And so what my question to you, Chachi, is when we all first saw this visually, we were feeling like this looks amazing, right? And for those of us who were into VR, even though they hadn't talked about it just yet, I think this did spark something, right? You know, when you saw these detailed ships, you couldn't help but say, man, what this would look like in VR, right? Because your enthusiasm is definitely on this video as you're walking around the ship. Yeah. How did you feel back then when you saw these ships, that you saw what they were creating?
So at this point, Elite Dangerous has been around and is basically the first, best, and only good VR game on the market. And for those who have ever played Elite Dangerous before, in VR, it's so good that you can have your hands on keyboard or hands on throttle and stick, never touch the keyboard, be able to navigate the escape menus, the forward and backwards with those buttons, and then look left and right and have the side menus pop up in your ship. You will never, ever need to touch mouse and keyboard ever. And it feels like for the first time, you were truly, truly inside of a game. And then you tried to stand up out of the cockpit, and then you're a floating head that could look back on your body. And then that's when all of that immersion just kind of falls apart. And when you're playing a game like Star Citizen, where you can walk around physically, go between first person, third person seamlessly, get inside and out of the ships in every nook and cranny, and it's not just an invisible box on the inside that you hit a button and you just transport into, you actual full mocapped animations doing everything inside and out of it. You just realize like the potential and the future, and then especially in VR, especially because it's a high fidelity game. So many VR games have to be able to run on a potato so that people don't get motion sickness. That was never, ever, ever the case for Star Citizen as a design constraint. It was always going to be 4K, 8K, ultra high def textures, and whatever, you know, God help you and your PC to run it.
Yeah, absolutely. cc, let me ask you, when you first saw Star Citizen, did you, because you had experience in VR, what were your thoughts about it?
When I first saw, so I was coming from Elite Dangerous, which I played exclusively in VR.
Okay.
Yeah.
When I came to Star Citizen, it was, I want to play this game in VR. And I discovered
immediately, isn't it?
Yeah, I discovered Chachi's channel, and I tried to get it working on my system. It was had varying results
Mm-hmm.
because my system wasn't really up to par yet, but I knew that this was a game that I wanted to play and experience. So from day one is where I always wanted to be, just the level of detail. And again,
It's
the promise that was promised to us in the other game, that Star Citizen, just from the very beginning, everything was there. It just needed that final step to
just
push it over the
it's
line.
Mm-hmm.
it's just so close, just a little bit of VR native support, and it'll just be so good. And now it's here, and when you just hit that, when you're sitting above on the pad and you look at the sunset and you see, like, a planet just, and it just, you hit it just right.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Absolutely.
You're there. You are actually there.
There's an actual sequence in another video of yours we're going to show in just a minute where I'm going to let you talk about that for a hot second. I want to cut over to another video for you guys real quick, and then we're going to come back and talk about CIG and how Star Citizen, or how VR was first introduced to us as players. So let's watch this video real quick. This is a little bit more detailed about the history of VR. The first one was a little shorter. Oh, this is the wrong video. Is that the right video? Let's see. That's Chris Roberts. Where's this video at? Hold on a minute, gang. I might have had the wrong video up.
While you search for that, I got a little note I made on this previous section here that if you've ever played a racing game with a good wheel and pedals, you know how transformative that experience can be coming from a keyboard or controller.
Mm-hmm.
The immersion factor rises to a literal sim level.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing can be said for VR, but a factor of 10 if you then play that same racing game with wheel, pedals, and a headset.
Mm-hmm.
The immersion factor rises past a sim level. You are now in that simulated virtual environment, able to reach out and touch it in some cases. So,
yeah. There's part of the thing. I went into your YouTube and looked at some of the games that you had played, and you mentioned Elite Dangerous already, but your background covered not just space stuff. You did Assetto Corsa, you had Skyrim, you had videos from Fallout 4, Universe Sandbox, which, by the way, for you sci-fi geeks, we've talked about Universe Sandbox before. Amazing in VR. F1 and War Thunder. So you've got like a cross section here, right? It's not just Star Citizen, but there's a cross section of evolution of these games.
Yes. Playing all the way from, so that Skyrim footage was not the Skyrim VR version.
Mm-hmm.
That was me playing on a DK2, the actual Skyrim game from Steam, using VorpX, the program that I played Star Citizen in VR all those years. And I was using Wiimotes hooked up with Bluetooth to use touch controls. And yeah, I was basically the first person in the world, I think, to kill a dragon in VR. It was way before there was ever a VR version of Skyrim.
That's awesome.
I just had to take things. I always pushed things, as hard as I could.
Yeah.
It was like 3 FPS in the DK2. It was like less than 600 by 800 resolution, but I killed that dragon, so I got it down.
That's awesome. Okay, let's take a look at this video real quick.
If there's one thing humans can't stand, it's the actual physical world. Why else would we have spent years trying to make virtual reality a success? For as long as we've been able to render computer-generated worlds, we've fantasized about transplanting our minds into the artificial realm. But for all our decades of dreaming, the history of VR in the real world is essentially a story of failure. The early 60s saw dalliances with immersive theatre, such as Morten Heilig's smell-producing Sensorama or Telesphere Mask. But VR got its first proper airing when respected computer scientist Ivan Sutherland described what he called the ultimate display. A head-mounted, room-filling wonder gadget that, Sutherland hoped, would prove a looking glass into a mathematical wonderland. Sutherland's tech was truly mind-bending, but as we know, the public's appetite over the next 2 decades was for computers that were a little more two-dimensional. Nevertheless, VR was growing behind the scenes. Industrial synth? Crude wireframe environments? It can only be the mid-80s, a time when systems like NASA's Virtual Visual Environment Display were proving the potential of VR outside the consumer sphere. Shown off in 1986, 2 tiny LCD screens and a helmet-mounted sensor promised a final frontier of remotely controlled space hardware. Back on Earth, the 80s saw virtual reality become a familiar term. one popularised by Jaron Lanier of VPL, which developed the Data Glove, an ancestor of the infamous Power Glove for the Nintendo Entertainment System.
I love the Power Glove. It's so bad.
Public interest flared, and suddenly the VR revolution was just around the corner. The focal point for that enthusiasm was to be the games industry, and in the mid-90s, VR started to creep into our homes. There were outliers like Forte's VFX1.
Now I'm into this game.
But Sega and Nintendo, at the time the biggest names in gaming, also had a go. The Sega VR made it to arcades, but the console version was cancelled, a decision Nintendo should have learned from before building the Virtual Boy. Released in the US in August 1995, the Virtual Boy, which offered monochromatic 3D gaming through a boxy headset, had nothing going for it. It was expensive, the games looked terrible, Nintendo stripped out head tracking from the prototype, and most worryingly, gamers complained of headaches and nausea when using it. A critical and commercial failure, the Virtual Boy was canned the next year. Marketing aside, the Virtual Boy was VR only in the weakest sense, but as a poster child for the concept, its failure saw virtual reality take a big hit.
This is the Oculus Rift.
Today, with vastly improved hardware, we're once more ready to give VR a try, in a new virtual reality flair ignited by Oculus Rift, which in 2012 stormed Kickstarter, earning over $1 million in crowdfunding in only a few days. Since then, Microsoft, Samsung, Sony, HTC, Valve, and many more have thrown their hats into the VR ring. Will VR finally stick, or not? Well, there are signs that this time, things could be different. Today's VR is being pioneered by tech makers like Samsung and HTC, who desperately need a next big thing as heat from the smartphone boom cools, so there's plenty of enthusiasm and resources in the war to make VR work. Then there's the social web, which opens up a new frontier for VR beyond gaming. We've already seen VR social networks, and with Facebook now in charge of Oculus, the virtual worlds to come could be a lot chattier than we anticipated. What VR has never ever done though is win over the public, so if you really want to know whether this stuff could ever take off, all you have to do is ask yourself, do I want this in my life? So, do you?
Okay, so this is just, again, a little bit of introduction about VR. And a few years ago, Chachi, let me ask you a question. And I'm going to go to CC on this one first, because this is a different question. It's not on the sheet, so I don't want to catch him off guard. But a couple years ago, Facebook, Meta, Zuckerberg did a really big push on VR. Kind of attempted to tell us that VR was going to be the next big thing. And
$1 billion push.
Yeah. Yeah. And it didn't go so well. The marketing, the idea didn't go so well. CC, what is your reaction to kind of, you've been in it a long time, right? And you know, one of the titles that we had for our thing is VR novelty or is it next level? Where are you seeing, or how are you feeling right now as you've seen that progression from the DK1 days up till now? And you got a big company, to Chachi's point, like Facebook, who spent $1 billion in this marketing and stuff, but it hasn't taken off yet. You know, where do you think is the deal with that?
I think my view on it is probably a little different. I think that VR would not be where it is today if it weren't for Facebook and Meta. I think that I think VR would have died off much more than it is currently if it wasn't for Meta heavily subsidizing.
Agreed.
The VR,
the subsidization of it, the bringing the price point down.
Yeah, but let me finish, Chachi, because I'm hearing you saying.
Getting it.
Go ahead, I couldn't hear you.
Getting it into people's hands.
Oh, as far as making it available to consumer, the regular consumer type of thing, you mean?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Now the part that the problem I have with Meta is that when it comes to PC VR and higher end VR, they kind of killed that market. And having everything standalone, it dropped the quality of the games, the quality of VR. Everything is a much lower base, and why I'm happy to see companies like Pimax now kind of raise that bar back up. So it's a love-hate kind of situation with the VR, and the issue with them with the metaverse, they really tried to co-opt something that existed.
Mm-hmm.
To use a perfect comparison, Jumptown. Whenever Jumptown was an organic thing,
Mm-hmm.
it existed. But when CIG kind of tried to make it into something, it kind of lost some of its luster.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever the metaverse just was kind of this thing, was its own hot thing, it existed, and then Meta came along and tried to make it into something that it really wasn't, and I think that's where they kind of missed the point at. And I think that's what happened with the metaverse. There's still things like VR chat that are huge, thriving communities, but Meta just didn't capture that in their simplifying it and homogenizing it to the point that it's just not relevant anymore.
Chachi, I know you're in VR chat every day, right? So tell us your story about Facebook.
Actually, I am not a big VR chat kind of guy.
I'm just teasing. I know. I'm just teasing.
Well, it's not that I don't hate it or anything.
Right.
It's just I got to be set up for that. I'm set up for the cockpit in the corner of my room.
Yeah.
I still need to actually get my green screen room scale playing room up and running so that I can use the new Pimaxes and test out stuff like Alex again and go back to my VR library. And yes, at some point I'm going to go back into VR chat. It's been years. But the thing about VR chat that I wanted to say is that line from, as far as Facebook spending billions of dollars, it's that same line from Iron Man. The developers of VR chat made it in a cave with a box of stuff. And Facebook with billions of dollars couldn't get that type of market saturation because they didn't focus on what the VR players want. They wanted grandma and grandpa to own a Facebook headset and take their data. And that was where the big subsidization push came from, in all honesty, in my opinion. Because it definitely wasn't focused around gaming and making that a great experience, as ccCreator already said. Like, I don't know if you've ever tried to connect a Quest 3 to a computer, but there's an entire industry of programs that aren't the software that it comes with because it's so bad.
Very true. Very true. Okay, let's take a quick look at how VR now starts to connect to Star Citizen. We're going to take you guys way back. This is a very, very old video. For those of you old dogs who've been around for a while, you might remember this, but you probably haven't seen it in a long time.
Hi, I'm Sandy Gardner, and we're here at Oculus VR, creators of Oculus Rift. Hi.
Hello. Hey,
Chris
Sandy.
Roberts and Brendan Areve, the CEO of Oculus VR.
Brendan, you want to give us a tour of the Oculus offices? That'd be awesome.
Come this way. We have Palmer's office over here. Palmer Luckey is the founder and inventor of Oculus. Came up with the original prototype, which John Carmack got a hold of and demoed at E3.
Palmer, where do you get the inspiration for this? Like, tell us a bit about your background.
Okay, I love video games. I like them more than real life. So for years I've thought, how cool would it be to be able to go inside of video games, to actually be inside of the game, something like The Matrix. So I started buying headsets, and there was nothing I wanted, nothing that was good enough, so I figured, oh, well, I'm going to have to build this on my own. So it's funny, people are like, where did this passion for building VR come from? It's like, because there was nothing else that I could have just bought. If I could have gone to the store and bought a headset, I wouldn't have gotten into the business of building headsets.
And you built something in 2D, you said?
I've built a bunch of different versions. I had about 5 major revisions before I arrived at what you would call the Rift, the design that you could call the Rift. The first one was 2D, the next few were 3D, some of them extremely wide field of view, some of them were heavier, some of them relied on multiple panels. But finally I arrived at the Rift's design.
Yeah, so each Rift prototype begins life as a bunch of foam core pieces and electronic parts, and we put them together and they come out something like this with a control box. So,
and you have some designs over there of
industrial design. We are exploring the design of the Rift and what it could be, and we're really excited about the future design of this product.
Awesome. And this is not what we're actually shipping. This is a prototype of the developer kit. So the developer kit that we're shipping is made in China, not here in Irvine, California by Matt. I think it would take you a while to make 10,000 of these, huh?
I need some help. My background is industrial design, and I'm helping Oculus explore the design of the product itself, how it looks, how it functions, and how it fits onto the face.
And I see that this foam, this is kind of like for skiing or snowboarding.
Yeah, that's right. So the current prototypes, we're making them based on like a snowboard goggle or a skiing goggle. And actually the overall shape is really a good start. It's a good shape for the face, and the foam is really comfortable, and it gives a nice familiar fit.
Yeah, it's actually, and it's super light. Right?
Yeah, the foam core that we're making the structure out of is a terrific modeling material that's easy to work with and really lightweight. And it allows us to explore a lot of different options on the Rift as well.
We have some other developers over here. Joe.
Guys.
Can you tell everybody what you do?
Sure, yeah, I'm one of the product leads here at Oculus, and I pretty much handle a lot of the product marketing, some of the product development, and just however we engage with the folks that are really looking to get their hands on one of these things.
So they basically, you guys had a really good CES?
It was insane. It was so humbling. We started off the mornings kind of on schedule, but then it started double booking, triple booking. It was insane. I can't believe how many people are interested in VR again, and it's incredibly reassuring to us about what we're trying to do here at Oculus. So it's great.
They won a bunch of awards.
Right. Nikolai is working on web development. This is Lee. Lee just recently joined us actually, and diving into some of the SDK. What do you think so far?
Yeah, it's looking good.
Andrew over here. Andrew's working on the Unreal integration. So we have Unity and Unreal that we're going to be working with, and out-of-the-box integrations with both engines. So this is Chris over here. Chris is doing some different printing using the 3D printer. He builds a lot of our prototypes, does the electronics for it, so doing all kinds of soldering and configuration. And we have Mike is in here. Say hi. Mike's responsible for the core SDK here. Here's where we have all the toys. So some of the toys I've collected over the years, different from Crytek to Unreal, Epic toys, different signed games. In fact, I have some original Wing Commander boxes here which need your signature.
Oh, well, I guess that's my cue to come in again. All right.
Honored to have your signature. Thank you. And just as a note, this is on the original game that I grew up playing. So this is the first game that I experienced on a PC, and it's just an honor to have you both in our office and on board this kind of VR gaming initiative.
Well, no, thank you. Hey, listen, I backed it before we'd even connected, because this is exactly my dream is sitting in a cockpit, looking around, seeing
fully immersive,
my hand on a hot ass, like hands-on joystick and throttle system, and yeah, everything I sort of see through my VR is in the world of space. And,
we gotta make it happen.
We're gonna make it happen.
So essentially, the Rift is a single LCD panel, a lot like this one, but much smaller. What you can see is that on this panel we're displaying two images. Each of them is generated by a separate virtual camera inside of the scene. So when I rotate the headset, those cameras rotate. When I look up and down, you can see it's very responsive. Even very minute shakes show up. We're sampling at 1,000 hertz and doing our own sensor fusion algorithm that provides some really great results from our accelerometer, magnetometer, and gyroscope. And then in front of each half of the screen you have a high magnification aspherical lens. Well, technically an aspherical lens. The reality is that it doesn't do a very good job of remaining in asphere, which is why we have the warping. One of the really interesting things about these lenses is the way that they work is as you get more towards the edges, they actually stretch pixels out more. So in the center of the screen, you have more pixels than you do at the edge of the screen, which is actually a more natural allocation of resources, just like the way your eye works. When you look at a standard monitor, this is what you're really looking at most of the time. But all these pixels out here, there's this exact same density as they are here. They're essentially being wasted. So that's one of the reasons we're able to get away with such a low resolution in the current developer kit, because it's actually taking a lot of those pixels and putting them into the center of the image where they're going to matter the most. Well, it is extremely accurate. We're using our own sensor that we developed. It uses a gyroscope and an accelerometer and a magnetometer, updating at a rate of about 1,000 hertz. We developed it ourselves to minimize latency and maximize accuracy, because you really need to push this hardware as fast as it can go to give a good VR experience. You can't say, oh, we're just going to run it at 60 hertz or 100 hertz, because that's what's acceptable for maybe mobile phone use or a typical game console use case. It's not going to work for VR.
I can't reach it.
In Star Citizen, you'll actually be able to be in a virtual representation of the cockpit. That'll be a really fantastic experience, I think. One really cool use case would be to have a throttle and a joystick, and then have in the game the throttle and the joystick in the same place, so that you can actually have your hands matching up to what they're doing in the game and actually be feeling these virtual objects actually in your hands if they exist. So we're looking at the possibility of us working with Chris to create something.
Okay. I'll take you guys back, and there's a link that I'm going to put in the chat right now for you guys. Believe it or not, that video goes back to like 2013, 2014, but I'm going to send you another link that is from the Wing Commander website. And that one shows Chris Roberts in November of 2012. This is a month after the Kickstarter, and he is at the Oculus Studios already looking at this. And it's funny when you watch things in retrospect, and I'll ask both Chachi and ccC to give their comments on this, but in retrospect, they didn't do a lot of videos in VR. There was just this one or two, and that was it. And then you didn't hear about it anymore. But in order for VR to be built out to where it is now, this had to be not just only something that they were talking about, but something that they were planning for over a period of time. And so now when you see Chris standing there in 2013, 2014, saying, I want to be able to sit down and look and touch and have this immersion. Now the word immersion means something entirely different, at least to me. Chachi, what do you say to that?
It's crazy to see all of the extra steps and hard work taken that was, yes, good and okay for the average user at the desktop, but in reality were foundations for our VR support. So the fact that, every single little thing that they did, like the guns being physicalized, bullets shoot out of the barrel, your cameras are in your eyes and not your chest, the seamless first person to third person cameras, the skeletal rigging and mocapping, every single one of those is not needed for a good game experience. They are needed
for VR,
for a great VR experience. So it's just really interesting to see all of this stuff come, that I've noticed in the background, like, oh, Mobi-Glass, that'll be really cool in VR. You got full rigging and the views coming out of your eyes, so it's exactly matched. All these little tiny things like this and that, like, man, this will be great in VR because it's, shooting a gun. They have actual scopes, and the head tracking already lets you move left and right of it. Like, you could test these things, in isolation for the longest time. And especially if you, use third-party programs and threw VR headset on yourself, you could see what was already there this entire time. It just, needed a little bit of extra work for it to be, good enough to the point where they can release it now. And it's still not a 1.0 VR right now.
Right.
There's still little issues with the 2D UI being reprojected in 3 dimensions that is lacking. But if you're someone who's coming from third-party programs for years trying to play VR Citizen, it's been the best Christmas of all time. So
yeah, absolutely. ccC,
it's funny.
Sure, go ahead.
Quickly, the last thing I have to say is that it's funny that Palmer Lucky said that I couldn't go to the store and just buy a VR headset. I had got started because I had to build it myself. The same thing for my entire channel Discord community. As soon as Sylvan yanked out that VR code, I had a job to do. I had to get VR working again with Star Citizen, no matter the cost. And that's when I started looking at, tools I was already familiar with Skyrim, like Vorpex, like virtual desktop and, OpenTrack for head tracking solutions and stuff. So
well, I was literally about to.
For me.
I was literally about to ask you that, because that was the next point that we were going into, because I have another video of you, but you talked about it. So let me go back before we get into that, because I'm going to run some video and you can talk about what it took to make that happen. ccC, for you, had you seen that video before? This one with Sandy? Okay, what was your thoughts seeing that now, knowing that this is over a decade old, that we're looking at, that they were already talking about VR back then?
Some of the same stuff, just having that foresight. I smile kind of came across my face whenever he had mentioned about sitting in the cockpit and reaching out and having your hands on the controls. I notice whenever I sit in a ship now and I reach out to grab the controls, they match up exactly where my hostess sticks are. And when they don't, I'll position them so they do. So those little details like that really kind of put you into the game is something that I notice and really appreciate every time I'm in VR. So
yeah,
stuff like that really is that extra detail that really matters.
Yeah. One of the things I want to mention too is that there's a parallel here. If we take the clock back to this period of time of 2012, VR, as far as on the consumer level here, this is very, it's just getting off the ground, right? Just like Star Citizen was, right? CIG was in 2012 launching this whole thing of this game world that they wanted to create called Star Citizen and Squadron 42. And it was being done in parallel with what was taking place in VR. Now, mind you, as you saw earlier, you know, VR has gone back into a lot of forms in the past. I remember I kind of laughed. Listen, I hate to say this, Chachi, but I saw some of the stuff that they were showing in that history of VR stuff. I remember when people weren't born, right? Which I hate to say, right? I wasn't around when the freaking Sword of Damocles came out, but I was around for the freaking Viewmaster, okay? There was some stuff there that I remember.
My grandma had some stereoscopes and a Viewmaster.
Yes. Yes. So I'm sitting there saying, oh, this is kind of showing my age because I actually remember this stuff, right? But the fact is that this consumer level VR that we're most familiar with now has been also progressing along with Star Citizen. And guess what? It's good, but it's not perfect. But it's getting there. It's getting better. And just like how Star Citizen, it's good. It ain't there completely, but it's getting there. These two technologies or games or whatever are moving together. And if the timing is good, if it's right, and you guys have heard us say this, when VR got announced back in December, we said, listen, don't go rush out and buy a VR headset right now. It's still in its infancy with Star Citizen. They're still building it out, but there will be a time. And hopefully when that right time comes, the prices of these units will also start to be in a better place for the average player. Now, for the avid person who wants the cutting edge, they could spend literally thousands of dollars with getting the best situation. But we're not saying you should do, just like we tell people, don't go out and buy a freaking Javelin. We're telling you don't necessarily go out and buy the Pimax Super, the one that costs $2,500. But there are some things that you can do in the meantime if you're interested. And we're going to kind of get into that a little bit, okay? I want to show this video, and I want Chachi to kind of, in its best possible way, Chachi, kind of let people know what you started on, what the struggle was, right? Because some people don't know. I remember back in Arena Commander, and people were doing VR way freaking back in the day. It was cumbersome as all get out to make it happen, but some of you guys were playing aspects of Star Citizen in VR. But then there, you know, again, it wasn't an easy thing to do. So you shared some things, like there's some software you had to do. There was some tweaking you had to do to make it work. Why didn't VR work? Why couldn't you just plug up a headset and play in VR in Star Citizen?
So this goes all the way back to like when we had just the DK2, right? Or even more so of a problem in the DK1 days. So you have your VR headset that you crowdfunded and kickstarted, and VR games don't exist. So what do? You reach to the nearest thing you got, which is your 2D game library on Steam. You need some way to turn that 2D image into a stereoscopic 3D image that lines up with your IPD on your headset that matches the distance between your nose and eyes, the interpupillary distance, IPD. You get those lined up, then just like when you're at a 3D movie with the different, green and blue goggles or whatever, that turns into an actual full single image that has depth that is projected into your vision. So, oh man, some real old stuff here. But yeah, so the hardest part for most games is the controls. Most games you play with a mouse and keyboard, right? So if you're playing a driving game and you have a wheel and pedals, and you're in VR, it's not much of a difference. But if you're playing an FPS game and you don't have touch controls and you can't aim a gun and you're using a mouse to do it, then how do you play a VR game with a mouse controller and all sorts of these little things pop up here and there. But what really turns a 2D game into a really good 3D VR game is when they add something like head tracking.
Mm-hmm.
So games like Arma, Tarkov, a few others that I can list that have a button that you could just toggle and then use your mouse to head track. If you found a way to tap into that natively and bind it to the XYZ positioning that's coming out of the data from your headset, then you have a VR ready capable game. Star Citizen has head tracking. So using programs like Vorpex to turn it into a 2D to 3D VR game, using side programs like OpenTrack to access the head tracking data, and then tie that into the OpenTrack basically turns into Track IR, and then I select Track IR in the Star Citizen menus. And then it just picks up exactly what's going on one-to-one with my head. And all of this is just all, one step at the time. All right, now I got the VR working. All right, so can I look? I can't look though. Can we fix that? What programs do that? All right, now I got this working. Okay, so now can we do this? What programs help me with that? And it was just, as each patch came and broke parts of it, I fixed more and I learned more. And then, you had entire, eras where okay, EAC was added to the game. No more third-party VR programs. Okay, great. How do I bypass an anti-cheat? And so that was a year-long road. And I found out answers from the Linux community who were already bypassing the anti-cheat to be able to play Star Citizen at all. So using those methods on Windows, that allowed me to get VR back up and running again. The community was rejoicing. We're all happy. A year or two goes by, and then Easy Anti-Cheat last June updated again because of the hacking, and that closed all loopholes for everybody, including, I think, the Linux community, and they were very upset as well. Because it's one thing to, kill third-party VR fans, niche market within a niche market, but an entire Linux community lost support as well with that, from what I understand. So, or actually, I think at that point, CIG had opened up Linux to where it didn't need EAC or something like that. I think that was the previous patch. So there was almost an overlap where they lost it completely like we did. But thankfully, they didn't have to. So, but yeah, that's basically my struggle for my entire streaming content creation career. I never sought out to I'm going to be the VR guy. I'm going to, be that Star Citizen VR content creator. I was like, there's no VR tutorials to get Star Citizen working again. Well, if I'm going to go through all this trouble, I might as well film it so other people can use it. And then, a lot of people ended up using it over and over and over every time I made a new one, whenever things broke. And from there, the biggest thing for me was when some random guy was like, I like what you're doing. I'm good with Discord. Here's a Discord server. And I have no clue what to do with Discord, but some dude literally gave me the keys to an entire Discord server they made up, and that is the Verse VRSC, the Verse Discord channel, the VR Citizen community.
Right.
And from there, all the live troubleshooting chat channels started going up and running. All the different people with headsets that I've never had access to could help chime in and help others.
Help each other out.
I was able to, make better tutorials with the opinions of everybody. It's just basically a place for all the VR citizens to congregate before VR Citizen was a thing. And without that Discord, I never would have taken all of the steps to do more and more and more and more, So tell everybody
again what it is, because I've been there and it's an extremely helpful community, gang. Tell everybody what it is in Discord.
It's not like a streamer Discord. It's literally a VR Star Citizen troubleshooting Discord. If you have a VR headset and you wanted to get it up and running with Star Citizen, there is some sort of troubleshooting channel there that will help you get it up and running. Whether it's virtual desktop for Quest 3 stuff, whether it's like Pimax only stuff, like there's motion controls that we have. Like some dude has made scripts that only work with the Quest controllers, not the Steam ones. But you can literally use these scripts that turn your VR touch controllers, into a virtual host sauce with the gyrometers. So you move your controller forward, it simulates throttle forward. You yaw left, the gyrometers, not the touch controls, the gyrometers, then pitch left. Like it basically uses the the gyrometers and not the touch,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So you could basically have a floating VR
cool.
sauce if you don't have a joystick.
That's
and now
very
it's just
cool.
one random person
Mm-hmm.
just chiming in with, you know, stuff that he's doing on the side.
Mm-hmm.
There's all sorts of stuff like that all over the Discord. So
Very
if you
cool.
are a VR citizen type of fan and person, that's the place you should be.
Okay.
And links to that are all over my YouTube and
Mm-hmm.
Twitch channel. And if you need to find it, just holler at someone who has it all.
We're gonna put it. We're gonna put it in. We're gonna make sure we put it in the chat. Fast card, if you would, put Chachi's channel in for us, please. CC, what you said that earlier, you tried to do some of this. Were there hurdles? Were you successful? Was it I tried, but it just I couldn't get it. What was your experience?
You know, I was able, I think back then I was on a Quest 2 and I was able to get it working somewhat. I was doing, I think I was on a 1080 back then.
Okay.
Probably 16 gigs of RAM. I had some issues with the 3D reprojection with the Vortex and different things. So it worked. It just wasn't the best VR experience.
Mm-hmm.
It worked for the most part though. So I definitely, you know, revisited and, you know, kept tuning and tweaking it. The main issue was the frame rate, so I couldn't really stay in it that long.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately now I can stay in for 2-3 hours at a time in VR.
Yeah.
But my system is much beefier.
Yeah.
That's the biggest barrier to entry. And I'm sure we'll talk about this when we get to the headset, you know, what do you call it? Review as far as what the guide to buy stuff later. But like the biggest thing, like I said, VR games are made to run on a potato because highest FPS possible is tantamount. You need that to reduce sickness.
Absolutely.
It's not like, well, you know, if
Well, hold your thought. I want to jump into pros and cons since you're hitting it because we're going to go there now. Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and hit it. Okay, we're getting ready to hit it now. Okay, because you're going right to it. So let's real quick. I'm going to go through these real quick. There are pros and cons to VR, and Chachi's getting ready to hit it. I'm going to let him talk about the sickness thing, but the pros are, and you've heard some of this from us already. The immersion. It is very difficult for VR people to express to non-VR people what they're seeing. It is extremely difficult because we know that the screens don't show it, right? But because it's an experience. It is a physical experience. So when we say the immersion is different, the fidelity is different, we're not saying it's graphically better. We're talking about the fact that it elevates exponentially what you're seeing in the 2D world. Okay, there are things that
a factor of 10.
Right. But remember the first time you watched Star Wars, when you went into the persistent universe and you were fascinated with seeing the name of a manufacturer on a screw? Well, multiply that now. It changes it dynamically. Okay. There's new experiences. You'll go into your hangar and see your hangar entirely different. The ship that you've walked on 100 times all of a sudden looks different. And the fact that there are future advances. In other words, when we talk about the pros, that what we've got right now that we think is so good, Chachi said this earlier, this is just the experimental. It's still got more to go to get even better. Now, the cons are going to be cost, VR sickness, the fact that for those of us who wear glasses, that you have to usually get lenses if your glasses don't fit inside. I did get that right. And then evolving tech. Okay, so let's talk about that. Chachi, why don't you were just talking about VR sickness, and maybe some people don't know what that is. So could you talk about that for a second?
So yeah, and also I'm glad that the vision lenses part, because I got a whole bunch of notes that, you know, off of what you sent me. I'm glad that the lenses part was about glasses, because that's what I assumed it was, and not the actual pancake versus flat or whatever.
A spherical,
I
whatever.
haven't actually looked too much into that, but as a glasses person, I could definitely chime in on that. But yes, let's go first to the cons and the sickness. It's really, really hard. It makes the cost of, let's see here, so some notes that I have here, basically it makes the even harder for the cost of VR equipment to come down, due to the very fact that most investors see that 25% of the population are never going to be able to play VR in their entire lifetime and immediately say, I'm out. So if you don't know, 25% of population, either with vision issues or most likely inner ear issues, there's some sort of basically your brain isn't thinking that it's in VR, seeing the scenes it sees. It thinks it's in a tumble dryer or falling downstairs or something. My cousin can't even stand up straight with the headset on. She wobbles and like literally just can't even balance, not even moving. My mom gets nauseous motion sickness when she sees anything in 3D. I've got a huge long anecdote about me going to Avatar for my birthday and her having to close her eyes for the entire movie because she couldn't use the glasses, and her basically listening to it as an audiobook and it's like, oh, it's Dances with Wolves in Space.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
So it's hard for investors to fork up a lot of money to make this easy to access because they know a quarter of the population just straight up cannot handle VR. And if you are one of those people's, my condolences, because I don't know if there's anything like you can get your VR legs for people who get a little queasy. You know, just keep going back into VR and back into VR, and eventually you'll get your VR legs and you could do longer sessions. There's some people who can't stand up.
Right.
You cannot literally stand up and will fall on their face just trying to balance. They will never be able to experience VR. And that is just unfortunate, and I feel a crime against humanity, but that's just the luck of the draw. I mean, on top of that, you have people who like go into lenses now who have really, really crappy eyes and are required, you know, contacts or glasses to see. A lot of the early units, there's not a lot of room inside of those headsets.
Right.
Like you're very, very limited on space and real estate inside of there, especially because the entire way that VR works is that it's like you're looking through a keyhole, right? The further the keyhole is away from your eyes, the less you see into the other room, right? So to bring up FOV, you bring that keyhole as close to your eye as possible, and then you could see through that hole. That's how exactly every single lens on every VR headset works. The closer you can get into them, the more of a keyhole you'll be able to see into the other room, right? And so because there's so little room in the old headsets, not a lot of room for glasses. Now, with something like my Index, they started to sell because VR would become popular at this point when Valve had gotten into the game. There were the first couple of companies that started selling 3D printable prescription glasses inserts. You would give them your prescription. They would 3D print a little gasket, and then they'd put your lens. They'd send it off to a lens company that would get your prescription lens and fit it into that gasket. Then that gasket fits perfectly over each eye.
Right.
And let me, on my Index here, I actually have, for me only, I can see perfectly through them. So other people cannot come over. I have to take these out of here if I want anybody else to use my Index. But for me personally, I can take off my glasses and I can use these 3D printed lenses. And that type of technology, there's now like dozens and dozens of these companies. They were the only ones I could find when I got my Index were based out of Germany. There's plenty of places all over the world now.
Now that you can get them.
Yep. And on top of that, if you're getting like big VR, like obviously big screen beyond VR requires a custom face gasket, and it's like right on top of your eyes.
Right.
You're going to need contacts for that. No glasses.
Right.
Something as big as a Pimax, though, you can get away with quite a bigger set of lenses. Now, if you are wanting to buy for the future, get a set of glasses that are thin, low profile, and slim enough to be able to fit into a decent headset. Don't get big, thick, bulky plastic frames.
Which is what I have here, right? Because you can see how my glasses are here, and I've got these specifically for going inside of the Meta, and they fit without a problem. So that's the other alternative.
That's basically the biggest thing. If you don't want to get 3D printed lenses, and if you plan on sharing, then you're going to want to have a set of your own glasses that are good for VR inside the headset that fit comfortably.
Right.
So,
Cece, let me talk to you real quick because you're using a unit that most people don't hear about in relation to VR. Chachi's kind of named off a lot of the more familiar names, but tell people what you're using and what it took for you to get that running.
So I actually have two units that most people don't have. The first, I was using the Quest Pro, which is the I guess it's an older model of the Quest now compared to the Quest 3, but it was more of the advanced kind of business model of the Quest Pro, a little higher resolution. But I tried this out at first, gave me a pretty good image quality, but then I switched from this over to the Apple Vision Pro, and this has comparable image resolution to the Pimax. So it's about it's close to 4K.
Headset.
Yeah. The one benefit to this is that it does HDR, and I was pleasantly surprised whenever 4.6 came out. Sylvan somehow got HDR working. It wasn't working all through PTU, but when it went live, I flipped it on and it worked really well. This is another case. Again, I wear bulky eyeglasses, but there are prescription inserts for this where you just purchase and they pop in. So I have perfect vision inside of this, and I'm using it is a wireless connection. I'm using ALVR to do the connection, and I am able to run. Granted, I have a beefy computer system, but I am running full resolution, and I'm running on ultra. Inside of New Babbage, I was telling Griff earlier, inside of New Babbage, running everything on ultra, full resolution. So at the full 3600K, I'm getting about 50 to 55 FPS in New Babbage. So getting really high quality with this and really happy with it.
Okay.
So real quickly, for that Apple Vision, those are OLEDs, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so what do you think of the OLEDs? Because Pimax just sent me the new OLEDs for theirs, and I was swapping back and forth. For those that don't know, the Pimax Super, let's say you got the ultra wide version with the nice 140 FOV, but that one is the QLEDs, and you want to test out the new OLED units. You can just buy the OLED unit, pull out your ultra wide. This is called optical engine. You pull out your old optical engine,
you swap them,
slot in the new one, and the entire system is modular. So whenever there's going to be, fancier new headsets, I'm assuming that you'll be able to.
We hope that they will do that. Yep.
Yeah. What I'm looking forward to is the ultra wide OLED, because you sacrifice a lot of field of view.
It's a difference.
Going down to the OLED. And in VR, like I said, it's that keyhole thing. Like 5-6 degrees of field of view is huge in VR. It's crazy how much that actually affects what you see. So yeah,
absolutely.
I was wondering. So you are enjoying your OLEDs and the true blacks and whatnot with that Apple Vision?
Yeah. Compared to the Quest Pro, which doesn't have the OLEDs, it's the first time I have really enjoyed a true black in space. It's chef's kiss when it comes to the true blacks.
And then coming from, let's say, like 1080p or 1440 VR to 4K VR, it's yet again another factor of 10, isn't it? Like I didn't think that my Pimax would be okay, more resolution, more FOV, but how good is that really?
Well, when it comes to being able to read your instrument cluster, being able to read the user interface, all of that stuff, it makes a world of difference.
Yeah, especially if you have the supercomputer that could run 2 4K by 4K resolution monitors, plus the render on your desktop, plus it's a lot of horsepower. And this is where the first time in my life I'm actually happy about things like AI super sampling and DLSS technology. And like I was, on the fence about fake frames and stuff, but now that there's a game like Star Citizen that could push 4K Ultra HD VR textures to a double 4K screen, yeah, I want every advantage. DLSS, give me fake frames, give me that FPS, and give me that that high quality without actually needing to buy $10,000 worth of computer.
Yep. So let me say this to you all, audience. Audience, I want to say to you all are seeing VR geeking right now. I want you to know that. That's what's happening, right? They have taken it to the next level. They are excited now. And I know we're talking, for those of you who don't know anything about VR, we don't want to lose you in this process, but I do want to touch on something that both CC and Chachi are alluding to. And Chachi was hitting this a second ago. There are trade-offs. There are trade-offs with VR. There's always, if this is better, you have to look for, well, what's the trade-off? And he gave the example now of, and we're just using the Pi as an example. Listen, we could go through endorsements. We're not doing that. What we are telling you is that there's a selection of things out there, and there is a wide view version that he mentioned just now of the Pimax that's roughly 140 degrees of vision. But if the one that is the better, the one they're talking about that has the blacks and looks really crisp, the OLED, you lose, that's the trade-off. You lose that wideness now. Okay, so and the best way we could describe it is that in VR, once you get used to it, it's not a big deal. But when you're looking through VR, there's a certain point where you're seeing everything, and then there's blackness on the edges. You're not seeing. It's like you're looking through binoculars almost, right? But your brain starts to tune out after a while, and eventually you just focus in on what you're looking at. But this one he's talking about, the ultra wide, is really wide. You don't see that blackness. And for people who are doing Grand Prix racing and stuff, where they got side mirrors and all this other stuff, they love having that big field of view. For other people, losing that field of view is worth it to get the higher resolution, because maybe they're looking at some screen or some numbers and they want to be able to see detail even more, or colors a little bit more vibrant. So all these things have their trade-offs. And so this list of stuff that you're seeing here, and he's already mentioned a couple of these, the Apple Vision Pro. He mentioned about the Big Screen Beyond 2. There's another company that makes a Mega Next Super Light, the Meta 3S. You guys may have seen those on sale back in the holidays. And then there's the Pico, the Pimax, the Play for the Dream, the Samsung Galaxy VR. These are some of the ones that were mentioned that are the more popular names. And we're referring, and I want to be really clear about this and distinguish this. We're not throwing any shade or hate toward Facebook and Meta, because to point that CC mentioned earlier, Meta introduced VR to a consumer base that maybe under any other circumstance wouldn't have been able to reach it. They made it affordable. And when I say affordable, it ain't cheap, okay? Their ranges have always been somewhere between exactly somewhere between like $299 up to $600, right? They've given the options for people to
console price sweet spot.
Exactly. But those were usually focused within their format. But these other ones we're talking about, for most of you who are watching this show, are the people who are looking for what great headset allows me to do great PC gaming. And some of these are dedicated toward PC. They're not going to be you're not going to get any games in the headset kind of thing, right? This is plug into the computer and you're playing your Steam games, your PC games in those spaces. So again, they all have their pros and cons. Now, remember we mentioned earlier, we talked about pros and cons. One of the cons was cost. And it's just like when you want to get a new computer and you really want that best rig, right? But sometimes your wallet says, it ain't going to be the platinum rig. It's going to be the gold rig, right? You know how it is when you buy your power supply. Sometimes it's the bronze power supply, even though you want the gold, right? Go ahead, Chachi, what are you going to say?
So at this point, this is where I'd love to forcibly take over and ask the audience, what do you specifically plan on doing with VR?
Yes.
If you are buying just VR for VR, then Griffin, if you want to link that video, the buying guide from Voodoo, follow this video. This is a great guide for VR users. For VR citizens, this is an entirely different animal altogether. The limiting factor for Star Citizen and VR, I cannot state this enough, but it is VRAM.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
The amount of VRAM is going to be exactly what you are able to play. Give me one sec here. I got a thing.
FC, would you put that video in under the headset options, please, and drop that in there? That's what Chachi's talking about. Throw that link in.
Okay, yeah. So I have an analogy here. VRAM is like trucks and their loads that they can handle, right? The amount of VRAM is how big the trailer on your truck is, how much it can fit and haul. The type of VRAM is how powerful the engine to haul it faster is. If the Pimax Crystal Super is a 24 gigabyte minimum load, you need at least a 24 gigabyte trailer to haul it.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to get away with trying to haul a 24 gigabyte load with a 16 gigabyte, card, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you have the same size trailer, if it's 24 gig versus 24 gig, the newest type of VRAM is going to be faster. So that is the quickest analogy I have for truckloads in VRAM and VR. Right?
Absolutely.
If you cannot move the load, then you're not going to be playing VR. So that is the biggest thing that I need to get across, is that if you are looking at running these ultra wides, these 4K by 4K, like all of this stuff like that, you need the gigabytes VRAM to do it.
Absolutely.
In 10 hours from now on my YouTube channel, I have a video coming out where I was testing, like I said, swapping the OLED, the not ultra wide, but the one that I have, and then desktop. I have graph and frame monitors. We're doing bench testing, and I basically have 3 different videos where I go from New Babbage up to Fort Tressler, and we do it on the desktop in 4K. We do it in OLED, and we do it on the QLED.
Nice.
And my liquid-cooled 5090 and my new $7,000 computer is binned at 95%. The entire test for both the OLED and the QLED. I am not kidding when I say VRAM is the most important thing as far as buying VR for Star Citizen.
So let me ask you a question.
If you want the big headsets, you need the big graphics cards.
Okay, now that's
I tried running it with the less ones,
but that's
not a good experience.
But that's my next question to you, because cost isn't just the headset, right?
Yep, it's the computer now that we're talking about Star Citizen.
Right, right. And this is one of the reasons why we're telling you guys to talk to people like Chachi, do your homework, do your
Discord,
research,
ask others.
Because here's the deal. Some of you guys, one of the things that's happened with me since Star Citizen has picked up VR, it actually has ignited me to go start playing other stuff in VR. I'd gotten away from some things, and now well, it's also because my rig has changed, but I've started playing other things now. So if you're looking to use VR, it's just like we tell people, don't go buy a computer just for Star Citizen. If you're looking to do VR, consider the world of VR along with Star Citizen.
There's so many people that come up and like, yeah, I'm just waiting to get VR for Star Citizen when it gets a little bit better. It's like, no. VR is good. You should get VR to get VR, and Star Citizen is a bonus.
Yes.
There's so many cool, super hot in VR.
Plenty of stuff
of all mankind. But you move your body,
it's great.
And you move time.
It's fun.
You move your body and you move time. It is such a cool concept that can only really be done in VR.
Absolutely.
Like, you are missing out if you're not just getting into VR for VR's sake.
Absolutely.
If you're only doing it for Star Citizen, that's fine, but there's so much
There's
more.
so much more. CC, I'm going to go down the list with you real quick. Are you familiar with any of these? Have you tried any of these in VR? Because these are just some recommendations, you all. This, to Chachi's point, there are dozens of games out there. Some there are games I didn't even list on here that are really, really good games.
Yep.
But CC, is there anything here that you... Let me get CC first. CC, is there anything on here that you...
Oh, you're good. I was about to say, I got my own list I'll post in y'all's Discord.
Okay.
Later.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I have played and owned everything on that list.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
He's deeper. He's got a deeper bench than me. The
He's
only thing I haven't messed with is Horizon and Lone Echo.
Really? Oh my god!
Oh, Lone Echo 1 and Lone Echo 2.
Yeah, 1 and 2. Really? I didn't even know about those. I mean, I knew about them. I did see them when it came out, but I never monkeyed around with that. But I've done Asgard's Wrath, Beat Saber, Batman I've not done. Elite, of course, I've done. Gran Turismo, I'm curious.
Batman,
go ahead. What about Batman?
Batman came with my Quest 3. That was pretty cool, but just punch.
Yeah. That's it.
A little bit of detective work, but
okay. All right. Horizon, I heard nothing but good stuff about Horizon. Lone, I haven't tried. MS Flight Sim, a standard. No Man's Sky, I have not tried. Did I? Okay, I have not tried No Man's Sky. Star Wars Squadrons, amazing. Freaking amazing.
Except when you get a new computer and you have to reset up the HOTAS. It's just, I still haven't gotten it working on the new computer because every time I go for keybinds.
Oh yeah, the keybinds are the worst. Oh, I agree with you. It's horrible. It's horrible. Keybinds are horrible. And last but not least, for you Star Wars fans, it may sound quirky, but it's actually fun. Vader Immortal. If you're a Star Wars fan, it's not a lot to it, but it's got a nice little story through it. And it's
just enough for you to be like,
it is.
Okay, this is the type of experiences that VR can do.
And it's a great introduction.
Game.
Yeah, it's a great introduction too, because the Star Wars world is familiar to a lot of people. So if you've got some friends over and you want, hey, try this in VR, it's really kind of a cool thing. So yeah,
we're one thing off that list for space nerds is the Star Trek game.
Oh, Bridge Crew.
That at the bottom on my list. Yeah, Bridge Crew.
How could I forget Bridge Crew?
So good.
How could I forget? And the cool thing about Bridge Crew, guys, is that Bridge Crew can be played in 2D as well. So if you've got friends who don't have VR, they can still play with you. They don't have to have VR, but it is wonderful in VR.
Reaching out and touching the
it is. It is definitely.
So cool to be on the board of the Enterprise.
It is definitely cool. Okay, so we've got some things we've got to wrap up on because we're over by 15 minutes, and I got some stuff. Chachi wants to do something. I've got some other things. Fast Cart, correct me if I'm wrong. Did we have a giveaway for this week that we didn't do last week? You know, I'm getting old and I can't remember. So I need to know that before I move forward. Do we still have that giveaway? I think I did. You did get it, right? Okay, I'm correct. Okay, so we're doing a giveaway today. And our giveaway today is going to be for a Hermes. We're going to give away a Hermes today. So before we do that, we do have a couple of questions from the audience. So we just have one question. It's from Pops in Space. And Pop says, have you tried VR for ground FPS in Star Citizen, like at the ASD or the bunkers? Chachi, I'll go to you, then CC, I'll go to you.
Yeah.
He said he did a run.
YouTube channel.
Yeah, tell him about the video.
Yeah, well, the ASD speedrunning stuff was when VR wasn't working.
Oh, okay.
But I've done the laser with Todd Fox.
Okay.
I did Hathor in VR. You check out my YouTube channel. There's a great video of me doing the Stormbreaker, and two guys with Idrises try to take our teeth, and we fight them back and stuff. A ground crew actually fights back versus an Idris team. So all of that was done in VR. Let me tell you. So Aliens fans, like that scene when the Marines are going into Hadley's Hope and it's all raining and it's that bluish, blackish kind of tones and stuff. You're there. You're there. You're at Hadley's Hope. You got your guns. You're in VR. It's raining. It's hitting your visors. You're there, man.
Okay.
It's so good.
It's
so good.
CC, what about you? Have you done any of the ASD or the Onyx or anything like that in VR?
I have done a bunker in VR.
Okay.
One thing I will say is do not attempt it with the Zenith sniper rifle. Those scopes do not work in VR yet.
Yeah.
If your sniper rifle was carrying you, prepare to crawl.
Yeah, do not try it. But I will give a shout out to Fried Chicken. I have been watching him do VR with doing first person shooter, and he is deadly in VR. So I think that gameplay is definitely moving forward.
Yeah. And Pops, I know why you asked that question, because initially when we first got the VR in Star Citizen, there was some issue with aiming with many of the rifles and stuff. And so but one of the great things that's been happening is that Sylvan and CIG have been literally this is not a flash in the pan thing. They have really been putting out updates and tweaking and continuing to make things better with the VR. It's not like
it already has had. They already added eye tracking. They've got curved theater mode and like one or two other things for like swapping to left eye to right eye versus how it is seen on the desktop. Like those are things that you like. That's crazy that we're getting that so close to
early.
After.
It's good stuff. It is.
Like, and it's not just like, an untouched tech for like years now. Like
it definitely
let's
is.
say so many things.
It definitely is.
Okay. I have my list of VR games, must-have VR games. Where would you want me to post this? Just
do me a favor and put that in our. No, give it to Fast Cart. He's in. You know what? Put it in the. Send it to me. And I'm going to give it to Fast Cart, and Fast Cart's going to put it in the channel. Yeah, he's going to put it in the channel. And then I want you to go ahead and do your boxing, because we've got a video that we still have to watch. We have one more video, and we have the giveaway. So I'm going to give this to him.
And so we were talking about.
Oh my God, that's a huge list. That's a huge list. Okay, yeah, we're gonna have to put
13 games. 13. I got notes for each one. 13 games and notes.
Let me see if he can get that all in here. Okay, but go ahead. Let's talk. Yeah. Chachi has let me stop. Chachi has an unboxing that he wants to do specifically with you guys. So that's what we're getting ready to do real quick. Okay.
I've been teasing what's in this box for about a month or so, maybe 2 months now. This is a special relic that I got from some very, very trusty guy online. And this is exactly the type of item that is perfect to unbox for everybody here today. So, without further ado, what do you guys think is in Chachi's box?
Oh my God. A head. What's in the box? What's in the box?
Is it a head? What could possibly be in here? What is the one thing that I would want more than any other thing when I got a shelf that looks like this?
A Pimax Dream Air.
I could ask Pimax for that.
I'm gonna go with the DK1.
Oh, but what type of DK1?
Are you serious?
The only reason you would want
Are you serious?
DK1,
you've got the Steam the box.
It came from the CIG Studios.
Oh, that's crazy.
Nice. Very nice. Inside this box.
That's crazy.
Is extra equipment and things that CIG developers were doing and using to get the first version of VR up.
Wow, that's amazing.
So,
that
over
is
the next
so
coming
cool.
weeks, your Papa Chach, first time I'm opening this.
Wow.
It's in good condition too.
Nice. I'm sure they kept it in great. I knew they kept it in great condition. You know they did. That's
the foam,
amazing.
Yeah, the foam isn't chewed up, isn't in pieces and tatters like my current DK2
Nice, nice.
So yeah, over the next coming weeks, drop by my Twitch channel. We're gonna plug this in. We're gonna see if we can get it running with Star Citizen.
That's awesome.
Actual native VR.
Congratulations, dude. That is amazing.
Yeah,
so cool.
I cannot believe I actually got
so
this.
cool. Yeah, you better put that in a nice place.
I'm gonna actually, if I can, so I have that mobile VR cockpit booth that we'll have at CitizenCon. If I see a certain Chris Roberts or Mark Hamill,
get it signed off.
I'm gonna be getting some signatures on my VR headsets.
That is so cool.
That has been.
That is amazing.
What's
I
been
love
in
it.
the box.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
So I'm glad that I finally got to open it for everybody.
That is very, very cool.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. I'm so excited. So now I have a DK1. This is the one headset I didn't.
That completes the circle. The circle is now complete, as they would say, right?
I can put it right over there.
That is awesome.
Very excited.
Congrats, dude.
Chachi is the man. I try, you guys. It's the voodoo that I do.
All right, listen, we are going to do two things. As you guys know, this is also Black History Month, and every year we spend some time talking about folks who have had an impact in the areas of technology or gaming or something along those lines. And so we're going to start our giveaway. As I mentioned, it is for an RSI Hermes. And so those of you who've been here before, you know that you have to do exclamation ticket if you're interested. That has just started right now. And I think this video is like 3 minutes long. So you've got about 3 minutes if you are interested in being a part of this giveaway for the Hermes. This is your time to chime in. It is a Hermes with LTI.
Really good cargo right there.
LTI, and it comes with the paint that came along with the LTI version as well. So jump in if you want to do that. And while we're doing that, we're going to watch the video, and we'll be right back.
This week we highlight another life well lived. The next time you get in the car and plug your destination into the GPS to immediately find the fastest route, you can thank a pioneering mathematician named Gladys West.
Gladys grew up on a small family farm in rural Virginia, the daughter of sharecroppers. As high school valedictorian, she earned a scholarship to Virginia State College, where she studied mathematics. A few years after graduating, Gladys was hired at the Naval Proving Ground in Dahlgren, Virginia, where she was one of only 4 black employees. One of the others was a man named Ira West, who would become her husband of 67 years. While programming large-scale computers and analyzing satellite data for the Navy in the 1980s, West developed an increasingly precise and accurate map of the Earth's shape. Her algorithms and data mapping created the functions and laid the groundwork for the modern Global Positioning Systems, or GPS, found in phones, cars, and in military weapons. West retired from the Naval Surface Warfare Center in 1998 after 42 years of service. At the age of 70, she went back to school, earning a doctorate from Virginia Tech. Dr. Gladys West, whose groundbreaking work paved the way for GPS, died last weekend in Fredericksburg, Virginia. She was 95 years old.
All righty, Dr. West. Dr. West. So, yeah, if you know your GPS, you know who helped make the GPS a thing, make it a reality for us today, make our lives a lot easier. And we're not taking out maps anymore like we used to. Okay, I think we've got everybody just about chimed in. Looks like we're going to close out this in 5. Don't forget, exclamation point ticket. 5, 4, 3, 2. All right, we're closing it out. Chachi.
So,
why
Griffin,
don't
real quick? Have you messed with the Hermes in VR? Have you been on that tractor beam ride?
Oh,
the carnival ride?
dude, wait a minute. Okay, I got a quick story to tell y'all. I'm gonna say this. And listen. I'm gonna say it in 20 seconds. First time I used the Hermes, I was in 2D. It was great. I loaded it up. Boom. I loaded 256 SCU of stuff, right? And they were all 4 SCU boxes. Okay. So it was full. The next time I did it in VR. It is the first time in 12 years of VRing that I got sick. I've never gotten sick before, because what I did was I took the tractor beam to the back door, but you know how that swing is? It's like 180 degrees this way, 180 degrees this way, loading.
Yeah.
Well, multiply that times 256. That's how many times I did that. And dude, I had a headache. I literally put my head down on my desk when I shut the computer down, and I was jacked up. But mind you, Quest 2. 72 megahertz. Okay.
Yeah.
It gave me great incentive for saying it's time to upgrade. Let's just put it that way. Okay.
That's when you realize the tedium that you're going to be doing if you're playing in VR all the time. And this is that brings you to a side point that's not even VR. The whole D, whole E.
Oh yeah,
their own special boxes. 32s SC, 32s are too small for that.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
they
absolutely.
Need their own special super boxes.
Absolutely. And I thought I was going to have 32 SCU boxes, so that's why I didn't panic. And then when I saw they were all 4 SCUs, I was like, oh my god.
4, of course they would.
So that was my fault. That was my fault.
Find that out a little bit better before you pick them.
All right, Chachi, give us a countdown from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, so we can draw our winner here.
All right. Fine. Well, you know what? Yeah, you need a drum roll. Drum roll, please.
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, look who the winner is. The Prisoner.
Hey, The Prisoner!
The Prisoner. The Prisoner. You are the winner. He says it's rigged. Fast Card says it's rigged. Where's he at?
Yeah.
There he is. All right, Prisoner. One of our longtime followers, one of our followers for Chachi as well. So congratulations, buddy. You know the routine. Send us your RSI email. You can send it to soulcitizens@gmail.com, or you can DM it to us, and we will get that out to you tonight, probably, if you give us the info. So we'll make sure you have it, and you can. Maybe this is your second one if you don't have one already. But I don't know, Prisoner, if you've got one already. But if you don't, hey, enjoy, my friend. Okay, enjoy.
The more the merrier.
Absolutely. Okay, we are going to wrap things up. Before we go, let's talk about what we've got going on next week. On next Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, we are going to be doing a show called Profit, Prestige, and Protection. We're going to be talking about this whole idea of luxury transport and the idea of what, could possibly come out of this thing. And, how you can make money, whether you're going to feel good doing it, and whether you're going to need some protection. That's going to be basically the conversation next week. So hopefully you guys will be able to join us next week at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for that conversation. Before we go, I want to give a special thanks to ccCreator. Broke him in today. He's been quiet. He's been laying back. He talks a lot more than this, y'all. I don't think he's as quiet. But we're going to be looking forward to him being a part of our team. and we've got some more announcements coming up. Don't forget, March 1st is going to be our 6th anniversary. That's 2 weeks from now, or 3 weeks from now. So we'll be doing our 6th-year celebration at the time. We're going to have team members here, have a lot of great times, great conversations, great reflections, all the good stuff that we do on our anniversary each year. Chachi, tell people once again where they can find you, where they can find your content, when you're on. You got the floor.
So I'm a bit of a night owl. You will find me live on Twitch, usually around 10 p.m. to around 6 or 8 a.m. Real late owl kind of guy. I try to do the 9 to 5, but the other one, you can find my highlights of all the stuff I do on the good stuff of my highlights all on my YouTube channel. If you need a setup guide or tutorials, those are also on my YouTube channel. My GoFundMe project will help more people than ever before see VR Citizen with their own eyes with the best equipment possible. So if you want to give the gift of VR and you don't have any other way that you know to do so, drop by the GoFundMe. The more money we can get for that, the more people I can show exactly what it is that I see every day. The exact reasons why I've done all of this. So that would be my biggest thing, is to help more people who will never be able to see VR Citizen be able to actually see it. So from there, the Discord, if you need troubleshooting help, first and foremost. If you just want to hang out and talk Star Citizen in VR, second. So
awesome.
And that's pretty much it until they get org and social tools. We have a VR Citizens org, but that's pretty much just placeholder like everything else.
Okay. Well, once again, Chachi, thank you for taking your Sunday evening and sharing your knowledge and showing us all the cool stuff you've got back there. Thanks for sharing the unboxing with us. That's also very cool. Love it.
Like I said, I just got this room, the new internet, the new room. I got these shelves built a couple weeks ago. I actually stocked all this crap on it the past couple of days getting prepped for this podcast, because I knew I was going to need something in the background.
Oh, we appreciate
I've been meaning
it.
to actually put all my stuff up on my shelves. So
awesome.
It gave me a good excuse to do it. Thank you for having me. I was glad to talk about VR.
Thank you, man. Yeah, we'll see. We'll spread the word. And again, we want to give you guys one more piece of advice. And Chachi, by the fact that he's willing to take these units out on the road and let people experience it, we want to recommend to you, experience it. If there's somebody you know who has a VR, don't blindly buy something. I'm not trying to shoot this down, because we love VR, but it's very easy to get sold on marketing, and you need to make sure you understand what it is you're purchasing, because right now it is an investment. Even if you buy low end, if you buy a Meta 3S, it's $300. If you decide to buy the Super, you're talking $2,500. So, make a very smart and understanding decision, and please use resources like Chachi always tells people, if you have a question, ask me. He has great tutorial videos. There are people out there that will be willing to help you if you decide that you want to step into this. And again, we want to encourage you, not just Star Citizen, but just VR gaming in general. It is so much better than it was 10 years ago.
Again, VR anything is just takes it up to the next level. So like I said, I have many people that said, I'm just waiting to get VR for Star Citizen. No, get it now and enjoy VR, and know that it just gets better and better and better from here on out.
Absolutely.
And if people are looking for a quick, cheap recommendation, that is what I've heard, good VR, used PS2 VR or a new one. Apparently, I can't say personally, but everybody on my Discord, and this is why you should go to the Discord if you have questions, everybody is saying for the price and entry point, you get the Sony OLEDs at a lower resolution, but you got eye tracking capabilities, and it hooks up better to a computer than the Meta Quest does, from what I can hear, from all the evidence that I've seen.
Heard the same thing.
If you're looking for entry VR, PSVR 2 might be a good look if you can find that.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, gang, we're going to let you guys go have the rest of your Sunday evening. For those of you who are trying to watch the Super Bowl, you can catch it. We're going to let you guys go. But we're going to set you guys up with a raid over to Goodspeed OH. When you get over with Goodspeed, let Goodspeed know that you came over from the Soul Citizens. Once again, thank you guys for spending your Sunday with us. To those who followed, those who threw in some money and pitched in money and donated on YouTube and everything else, we really appreciate you guys. And we look forward to seeing you guys next week. Until then, you guys stay safe, take care of yourselves, and as we always tell you, peace, love, and soul. Ciao.
Be safe and fly right.